Welcome to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic.
I am Rob. I am also an alcoholic. We are not professionals. There are no letters after our names. We know very little. However, you will hear the word God and a four-letter word in the same sentence. You will also be offended. So if you are easily offended, just pass us by. This podcast is not for you.
Our opinions are just that. If you don't agree with what we're saying, that's okay. We're going to love you anyways. We are not in any way affiliated with AA.
So sit back, grab a beverage of your choice, and get ready.
Let's go. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Larry.
Welcome back.
Top of the morning to you.
Very top. Shit. What time is it? I don't know anymore. Who gives a shit?
Mid-morning.
Happy Saturday morning, though.
Happy Saturday morning.
How was the meeting this morning?
Excellent.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
You
good.
made it.
Tom didn't chair the meeting, so it was.
I know. I got a text from him on Thursday. It says, "Hey, just FYI, I'm not going to be there, so you're dedicated the asshole of the meeting." And then I didn't show up.
So he was there. So we saw an asshole. He just didn't ruin the whole fucking thing.
That's funny. You know what? Those are fun meetings, though. That's fun. Our friends Matt and Mary took over the Friday night meeting.
Yes, they did. I was there that night.
Last night, it was good. You know, Matt's still his bashful self, but he actually came out of his shell a little bit more. And, you know, you talked about something in your share last night that was pretty cool, and has actually worked right into poor Matt as him getting out of his comfort zone and getting involved in that. And I don't know if he took that or not or got it. I did. You know, and like, what's so funny is that we sit on this together, on this podcast together, talking back and forth, and you talk about how you don't like talking to crowds, you prefer the one, to where, fuck that, put me in front of 100. I'm much more happier in front of 100 than I am a one.
Well, because that's where I feel I'm gifted. Everybody, you know, gives you the compliment anyway. Man, you did such a great job. But every time they say that, I don't remember what I said, which means God spoke and I didn't. So that's why it's great.
Yeah, no, it was a good meeting. A great topic. Topic was service, or what do you do for your insurance, you know, and it was a great topic. Good, a lot of people there last night. Great first showing for Matt and Mary. Very happy with them.
In service.
Yeah, so we got our friend coming back that was with us last week. Brad, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, blessed to have you here, man. You know, we got a lot of feedback from you and Grace. Your guys' show absolutely blew up. And I wanted to bring you back. There was a lot more that people were asking, and you got a lot of questions asked of you, and I just wanted to bring that back. But I'm going to start with this one first.
Yo, brother Brad. What up? This is Daniel from Hawaii. Hey, man. Just wanted to reach out and tell you that had some heartfelt energies from your podcast. I got about halfway through it, maybe 2/3 of the way through it, and man, what a testimony, bro. Really kind of rocked my socks a little. Yeah, I think that you and your girl got some little tears coming out of my eyes on that. And yeah, it was very powerful. A lot of truth spoken in there. And yeah, man, I just, you know me, I've been on a similar journey. And yeah, I mean, the addiction is powerful, right? And yeah, I've got like 12 years sober from Oxycontin and 11 years sober from crystal. And then I had 7.5 years sober from marijuana, 8 years almost. And then I started dabbling. I dabbled for like 2 years and I quit for a little over a year. Anyway, been playing a little bit with marijuana, and I know it's ruined my relationship. I'm probably edging into a divorce, and it's just really good to hear a brother that's been through the similar struggles, because I know that it's a day-by-day thing. And yeah, I'm just really stoked on you, how you persevered through it and held on, man. And I know I'm not giving up, I'm holding on, but there's certain things that's like really hard in life, to really deal consciously with certain things, to be able to find the time and to do that. Anyways, just wanted to tell you, man, I see you. I'm really proud of you for making that podcast. And yeah, a lot of very powerful words. And if I was ever an influence that brought you down, brother, I apologize. I think we had a pretty good childhood and we were there for each other, but we didn't really have the best of direction. Anyways, man, love you, bro. Hope to hear from you.
So you sent that to me, I'm going to say it was like Wednesday, dropped Wednesday, probably Thursday or Friday, and that just really hit me. So I put it on and I cleaned it up. Tell us a little bit about that guy.
Dan, we grew up with each other. We were on homeschool with each other, so we had a lot of time to cause havoc and run around and smoke weed.
How old were you?
I think then we were probably 16.
Yeah.
I knew him for a long time. We skateboarded a lot together. We just, being on homeschool, we had a lot of time to do whatever we want. And we smoke weed and ride dirt bikes and talk about all the shit we were gonna do when we got older.
Ain't it fun when we're kids?
Yeah. His life ended up taking him. He ended up in Hawaii. He's over there working, doing his thing.
When's the last time you saw him?
Years.
When's the last time you heard from him?
I talked to him probably like 6-7 years ago, I want to say, maybe 5. I call him every great once in a while. And
So you guys are on whatever Facebook together. He just kind of.
Yeah, so I posted my story on Facebook just to get it out there. And
he picked it up and reached out. Wow.
That's what this whole thing's about, man.
As long as it touched one person, it made it worth it to me, That's all I wanted.
I dug that. I enjoyed that.
Had you not heard that yet?
No.
Huh. Yeah.
I'd rather hear it fresh anyway. They just have it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy. And he even did a little night step, didn't he? Making it Mr. Brad. If I had anything to do with, what a gift.
What I liked out of that, I see you. I don't know if you guys picked that up.
Yes.
I see you. That to me just hit me so hard when I saw that, when I heard that, because we get looked at a lot, right? I mean,
oh, they're watching,
right? And
good and bad. There are people that are watching that would love to see you fall because that would justify them keeping their addiction going. See, it don't work. See, it don't work.
Right. Look at him. That bullshit. Look at all that. He didn't. All that talk he was doing. All that podcasting. Look at him. He's just right back to where he's
Mr.
at.
Holier than thou. That's what they call us. Really?
Soapbox.
Yeah. You listen to this. He call us holy. I mean, we try to be.
He sounds really good.
He sounds great.
Yeah, he does.
I hope he gets it figured out. And
Yeah.
I hope them roosters sound better later.
They had roosters in Hawaii.
Yardbirds.
He's a good guy. We talked a while back about maybe me and Grace going out there. And
yeah. What part of Hawaii or what island?
That I'm not
sure.
Know. But after my episode on the plane this year, I don't know if I'll be flying anywhere.
They make boats.
Yeah, I'd rather go on a boat.
Go on a cruise?
I'd almost rather swim than fly. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
You lose a motor,
right?
An engine on a plane, you're going to change.
Especially when you're sitting on the wing that pops on.
Yeah.
Right. Brad's talking about a flight back from Nashville. It's actually made the news when one of the Southwest Airlines, one of the motors blew up in midair.
We'll talk a little bit about that real quick. So
yeah, hit it.
Now that I'm sober, I'm not scared to die.
Right.
I'm not ready to die. I don't want to die. But on that plane, in that instant, when that motor popped and plane started shaking, and I looked out the window and I said, "Oh, this might be it." And I wasn't freaking out. I was okay with it. I was just, it's my time, and here we're gonna go. Before, death scared me.
Right. And what do you credit that change to?
Being sober, and then, I think losing my dad really made it where I'm not scared of it.
Right.
Because when he went, he wasn't scared. So I don't know. When I got off that plane, I thought we were gonna do an emergency. We did emergency landing, but I thought we were gonna get evacuate right there on the runway. And the first thing I was gonna do was get on my knees and kiss that runway. But when we landed, I'm like, it was like when I got sober and I had another chance at life to start over again. And I'm like, wow, like I really need to start living.
Right.
Can I read something kind of tying to that? This is actually step 2. It's going into this is before we even do the third step prayer. It says, more and more we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of His power, God's power, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter.
Where did you find that?
Page 63, baby. Right before the third step prayer. We were reborn, it says. This is even before you sit down and do the third step prayer. We were, we lose those things.
Right.
I'll tell you right now, people on that plane were freaking out.
That's what I want to get to. I mean,
people were like, this is going to sound funny, but they were crying in silence. I mean, people were texting their goodbyes, and I felt good. I knew my wife loved me, and I knew she knew that I loved her. My kids, I was in good standings with everybody when I was sitting on that plane.
Right.
So I wasn't going to text my wife anything. I didn't want her to get worried or anything like that. It was just, if it was going to be over, it was going to be over. And I was more worried trying to calm the lady next to me. I mean,
What was she like?
She's praying like crazy. She's shaking. And then me and the guy on the other side that I kind of met in Nashville, we were both just trying to calm her down. You know, we were trying to talk to her, ask her if we don't get another plane, can we spend a night at her house? Because we just picked her up in St. Louis, and she's like, "Oh, Mom's gonna baptize you." We're like, "All right." And he's all, "Well, when we land, call her up because we're going to Costco. We're gonna bring some food over. We're gonna start cooking."
Yeah.
That's funny. How old was
she? She flew all the time. She was coming back to California to work, and she was an older lady, probably in her 50s.
Yeah.
And but she flew all the time, and she was scared shitless. And I'm like, I hate flying, but I'm okay right now. Like,
she was obviously a believer if she was praying.
Oh yeah, she was praying hard. I mean,
but maybe her side of the street hadn't been cleaned up.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And then I was like, well, the plan is to die sober. Here we go.
There we go.
Then the other bad part of me is like, I could have partied the whole weekend in Nashville.
But then you'd have met your maker like that.
But I didn't. You know, I went there I think we were there for 4 days. You know, I hung out with the guys the whole time. We were up till like 3 a.m. I was just walking into different bars, listening to the bands. I mean, it's crazy over there, but it was a great time. Soda water's free.
Right.
You know, I'd tip them $1 and go on my way.
Yeah. I don't know. Last time I was in Nashville was for my daughter's 21st birthday. I remember landing in Nashville. That was about the last of it.
Yeah, I can remember it.
Yeah. You know what? I remember it. I shouldn't say it that way. It was like I was drunk the whole time, but I mean, it was definitely drink from sun up to sundown because it was a green light for me, right? We're in Nashville partying, and that's just the way I looked at it. You know, when we were in Nashville, it was just, yeah. Anytime we went actually to the Jack Daniel's distillery, that's just Rob.
Sponsored by Jack Daniel's Black, not Double Barrel, not Gentleman Jack, just Black Label. Thank you for your support.
Dude, we're going to get so in trouble for some of the shit. Brad, tell me, you get any other responses? Anybody else reaching out to
I
you?
got a lot of responses, you know, people that I haven't heard from in a while, people that are this touched and proud. Hopefully I inspire some people to sit back and take a look at themselves and realize that you don't need alcohol to continue on life. Alcohol is pain number. It's not a painkiller. It doesn't get rid of it.
It's good to clean, though. It's a good cleaner.
It just numbs the pain, and then tomorrow it's going to be there, and tomorrow you're going to have to drink to numb it again. But it's always going to be there waiting for you. It's not going to go away, ever.
I carried the same shit for 30 years, all right? Every time I drink and wake up, the same shit was there.
And the quote that you had that I loved, that I couldn't remember, I mean, I remember the gist, but here it is exactly. Brad sent this. "No thanks, I don't drink." Really, why? "Because I'm a rebellious badass who prefers genuine happiness and self-esteem. Why do you drink?" I love that.
You ever been so good at drinking you got to retire?
Oh, yeah. I've never been asked that. I can honestly say that. I've been in the bar. I'm like Brad. I can go into any bar. I mean, with my business, we're everywhere we go, dinners, meetings, whatever. Alcohol is just around everywhere. And I have never been asked that. Why don't you drink? I don't know why. I just haven't been asked.
My sobriety was so public, you know, when I left.
Me too.
Everybody knew it, so.
I got it on my arms.
Yeah.
So.
I've been asked quite a few times. And then, you know, a lot of people, I didn't know you had a problem.
We're that good.
Yeah.
We heard that.
Maybe you're drinking more than me.
Yeah.
Maybe my alcoholism hid.
Well, you heard the story. We like to surround ourselves with people who drink like we did so we can fit in, and we have to find, you know, when it gets worse, you find different crowds that.
Yeah, I remember having parties when I got sober, and people would show up to my house, and they wouldn't bring any alcohol.
Because they're afraid.
What are you doing? They're like, "Oh, well, you don't drink." I said, "That's my problem. My problem. I don't drink. You guys can bring alcohol. I mean, I respect you for respecting me, but it's okay. You guys can still have a great time. I'm going to have a good time. I'm not going to be stupid, drunk, falling over, saying shit. Like, we're going to have a good time.
And I'm going to be up at 6 a.m. tomorrow wanting to go do something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the only difference is it ain't for free in the refrigerator anymore. Like, bring your own shit.
You know, nobody outside my house knew I had a problem, though. I mean, it was not something that was broadcasted.
I didn't see anybody at home towards the end. Home, work, drink, sleep, home.
I was only causing havoc under my roof,
Right.
in my family, you know, with my wife and my kids, you know, not being, you know, with my brother, you know, going back and forth with him because, you know, he really cares for me, loves me. He don't want to see me that way because
Right.
he's not that way.
Right.
You know, he didn't teach me to be like that.
You know, it's interesting when I did get sober and I had a chance to talk to my brother and my sister and my dad and talk to them about my drinking. I mean, they knew that I drank a lot of beer, right? I mean, that was just common. Everybody knew Larry drank a lot of beer. I mean, that boy puts away the beer. But when the whiskey is when my drinking turned bad, and I only did that in private, hidden from just about everybody inside this house. The whiskey that I would put inside my beer to hide the whiskey because the beer stopped doing the trick, that's when it got bad.
If you're going to pour it in your beer, why wouldn't you just drink it and then have your beer?
I don't know. I was a fucking alcoholic.
I can
None of
never
us were
pour.
sane.
I can never pour those two together. That's like what the guy poured. What he poured the whiskey and the milk.
In the milk.
Yeah, like come on.
I used to use Jack Daniels and Gatorade for a minute.
Insanity.
I would have to take, if I was going to go down that route, I would have to take the shot and then maybe take some milk. But I didn't like chasing my shot. I like the feeling of it going down and that.
Oh, I would still take shots. You're missing the point. I would take shots out in the garage, put some inside my beer, and then put it back in my toolbox, or put it back wherever I was hiding it.
Well, I was using the beer to.
I love the hide part. Why the heck do we hide it? I mean, because there come times I was getting rationed, but we hide it.
You want to hear something stupid, Rob? I hide my Copenhagen from my wife still, every once in a while.
Why?
I don't know. It's
Why?
dumb.
I know why.
Uh-huh.
I know why we hid it because we were ashamed. Subconsciously or consciously, we're ashamed, so we hide it, even though we get in that deep spot. We know what we're doing is wrong.
Good
I
God.
only started hiding it right there at the end, and that was when I was starting to admit, like barely admitting to myself that I might have a problem, and I caught myself putting it in the garage. That way, if I went outside and smoked a cigarette, I could take a couple pulls and then go back on the house, and then I could take some shots with hers. You wouldn't know that I'm already, 4 or 5 ahead of her.
Right.
I want to touch on that, Brad.
Hold on a second.
Go
I gotta tell our audience right now that we've been talking about behind the scenes and how Rob and I are kind of getting better at this with the audio and this and that. How Rob and I talk over each other. And as you were telling that story just then, Rob's over there, his head's about ready to explode because he's trying to jump over.
But you see how he waits patiently?
Oh, fuck you. He was over there doing this. He was dancing around.
Poor Grace was here, but you asked Grace a question and then you want to talk on top of her.
I'm bad.
But I do that, Larry, for Sue.
Here you go, Mom.
Yeah, this is my amends to Sue because she's been listening to the first couple episodes. She tells Larry, would you tell Rob to stop talking over you? Which, of course, we do.
We do.
And I've gotten better about just letting it happen. But what I wanted to touch on was Brad talked about he just started hiding it. The bottom came up and hit him, and people talk about they need to hit their bottom. Like drives me nuts. No, you need to quit digging. You hit your bottom when you put the shovel down. That's it. Some people put their shovel down on the bottom floor. Some people in the basement. Some people on the penthouse. You had talked about people coming in. What stops people from coming in the rooms when they get to where Brad was? They just started hiding their whiskey, or they just started. They think they have a problem, but there's certain things that keep them out of the rooms, because you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. Right. You've got to hit. You don't have to. I heard a gentleman shared the meeting today. He had to, I had to lose everything to get here. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You chose to lose everything. That's, that was the eventual outcome, but you didn't have to.
But he says it, maybe we say it the same way, right? I mean, he said he had to lose everything to get into the rooms. Mm-hmm. So for his moment of clarity, his moment that reversed his darkness was losing everything.
He had been to the rooms before. Okay. He just didn't think he needed, he didn't think he needed this. He wasn't as bad as, he got in the rooms, he wasn't as bad as the people he saw.
Oh. I
don't think I need this. Went back out, and then eventually lost everything. But then he said, but the way he worded it, I had to lose everything to get here. No, you didn't.
Right.
I know what he means, but in the rooms, and in life, words mean something. Oh. Words matter, the way you phrase it. People are listening. And I'm very.
Well, it's like I said before, when you get out of that hole, you don't backfill it. The more sobriety you get, you're not backfilling that hole. That hole is there. And when you jump, you're going to jump right back in there. I don't know what you're digging for. There ain't no treasure at the bottom of it. You're right back in the same hole you are, and you just continue off where you left off. It's not. You might start digging real slow, but eventually you're going to get right back up.
And that's a great analogy. That's
you're gonna
accurate.
You know, like for me, when Rob was hanging around, he looked down there and said, "Hey, buddy, you don't got to do that. You don't have to. There's an easier way." Like, but you know, you would hope people don't have to do that. For me, I had to, watch my wife and kids walk out the door. That's.
But you said a minute ago that you started to recognize that you were having a problem before that.
Recognize it. I didn't want to admit it.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Well, my wife, no alcoholic wants to be called an alcoholic. Well, my wife would call me an alcoholic. Well, okay, well, stand by. I'll show you what an alcoholic is. And go. But that was just another excuse to get,
right.
Just being an asshole.
And for me, I knew I was an alcoholic for the last year and a half. I was drinking. I knew I was 100%.
Until I went to that first meeting, I wasn't, when I walked out of there, just defeated, emotional. I knew that, I'm full blown at this point, 100% an alcoholic, and I need to stop.
I wish you could remember the story. We've been going back through the book, and none of those stories are.
I want to say it was Jim's story.
You got to remember those.
It's Jim's story.
That day, that week was a very dark time in my life.
Yeah.
And then you got to remember, I went home and
for sure.
It was Jim's story. I know the story. It was Jim's story that we read.
Okay.
Jim, the salesman, very successful.
Yep.
Right. I think you're right.
He was good, doing good. Didn't have a problem. He was going to use self-will. He was going to use willpower.
Okay.
Didn't work. I mean, it worked for a while, and then he went on a prodigious bender, came back in and said, wow, you guys, he was very successful in everything he did.
That's all the stories after 164.
No. This is Jim's story in the book. I think it's in.
I know, but it's past the 164. It's the stories.
His story is in the back, but it starts in here.
It starts in the first 164?
Yeah, more about alcoholism.
Okay.
Or there's a solution. There's Jim's story.
So how about this? Here's some food for thought. Me and Grace were talking yesterday when we were talking on our way home, and she's like, if you would listen to us, to the podcast the other day, would you have changed anything when you were drinking? And I'm like, I really didn't have that.
Right.
But I would, maybe I would thought about it, because at that point I haven't lost anything if I listened to it at that point. And
But doesn't it depend on where you are in your addiction, where you are in your alcoholism, what the depth of where you're at is going to determine whether it affects you or not.
So that's where the people I would like to touch is those people that still have their families, still got things going, because there's that word yet that you.
But they have, but they're having reservations. Is that what you're saying? They're having reservations. They're kind of reaching out. Hey, Brad, I need to. I know one gentleman reached out to you. Would not unless he wanted to stop, but Brad, could you help me control my drinking? Right?
Yeah, I don't.
So how did you answer that guy?
I told him, I don't know. I can't help you control your drinking. We all tried that. That's why we are where we are, because we couldn't control our drinking. We don't go to CD meetings. So if someone wants to start that, go ahead and figure it out.
CD is controlled drinking meetings. We don't, because of an alcoholic. I mean, the rub is right. The real guy wants to control and enjoy his drinking. Well, when I was controlling it, I wasn't enjoying it, and when I'm enjoying it, I was never controlling it. So there's the.
But you always say it, and someone could be listening and saying, "Well, I haven't lost my family yet. I haven't had a DUI yet. I haven't had a domestic violence yet. Like, I haven't went to jail yet."
Give us some time, boy.
And that's and now I want Brad to touch on this since he's our guest again. When you first came in, there were some times I would speak to people, or I would say some things, and you thought, "Man, he's an asshole." Not Larry, not even talking about Larry. We know Larry, but you would think that of me, the way I was coming across, the way I was speaking to these people. But now, 2.5 years later, you're saying the same things. Tell me what were you thinking, and give me some examples.
When you see people coming in and out, and they're not turning that light on, and I was early at that point, and I'm like, well, fuck, he's kind of being hard on that guy. Like, you should ease up on him. He's trying to figure it out. You should be nice to the guy. So I'll be this like, fuck, you were pretty rough on that guy. And he's like, well, some guys need to hear it, and I'm like, okay. And then now I see the light. I see people coming in and out, and it's like, hey, stupid, you're gonna be a repeat offender. You need to try something new because your program's not working. Like, you either need to get a different sponsor, or you need to get it. you know, a group of men around you, because that's what I have. I have a great group of guys around me that, you know, I shared it last night. It was like, I have a sponsor, but I really have like 10 sponsors. I got people to go to. I got people to call. I got people that are, you know, kind of looking up at me, seeing, you know, me doing good, and I want them to be able to show them that this shit is, you can do this.
Go back to what I said. I see you. Your buddy Danny said, I see you.
And I want to challenge people, and because Brad and now that Brad's been around, I've got to share some stories. And there are times when people need to hear it a different way, but you need to stand before, get in the firing lines and stand before a 6-year-old boy who knows you as Mr. Robbie, the man coming over to help his dad, right? And his dad was one of those, Brad, that didn't think he was one of us or wasn't sure, coming in and out, thinks he could do this, went and tried one more time, but in a blackout, he did some things I won't say, but to the point where the wife now divorced. If he's get visitation with the kids, it's chaperoned, right? And he's lost the job one more time. And eventually, the guilt, the shame, the fear, that man ate a bullet, and he ate the whole fucking thing. Killed him. Not like my other buddy who shot himself and survived. So now you're at a funeral looking at this 6-year-old boy who knows you as Mr. Robbie. Why didn't you help my father? And what do you tell that boy? I told him, and I'm not going to tell you what I told him, but I told him the truth. I did. You know, but hold on. Now, 7 years later, that boy's 13 years old, calling someone else dad. He just started wrestling, by the way. He calls me Mr. Thomas. So you do that, and then wonder when these guys come in and out why I do. And it's not that I'm bitter. It's not that I'm jaded.
Right.
I'm passionate because I know where that next one can take you.
Right.
And go talk to this boy. Now at 13, that young man told me, "Thank you for telling me what you did at 6. I didn't understand it then, but I get it now."
Yeah, and Brad and I talked about this a little bit last night at dinner, that I get so frustrated when I see it, and because for me, my light came on, and when it came on, I'm going to keep that, whatever it takes to keep that light on. If I got to go out and pedal that generator around to keep that electricity flowing, to keep this light on, I'm going to fucking do it. I don't care what it takes. It's not even about the drink anymore for me, right? Because the drink is so far gone, and we've talked about that so many times. It's my peace and my serenity that I have inside me. We were talking about this before we started recording, about the white knuckling of people that are out there that are, we were talking about a guy that had, a few years sober, but he's white knuckling it because he's not buying into the program. Why would you want to live like that?
They don't know the other way.
See, that right there, Rob, is what gets me frustrated and irritated. I
They
want
can
to take
see it in
baseball. Right. I see you.
If I'm gonna white knuckle it, I'm gonna drink.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be miserable,
if I'm gonna be dry, I can get dry. If I'm not hitting meetings regularly, I'll find myself getting dry. Rob talked about that, last week, but I'm going to drink if I'm just going to be miserable. I'm going to tell my family I'm out of here.
Right.
And
preach it, brother. I say it all the time.
I'm going to go be miserable by myself.
I've told Katie, if I'm going to go back to drinking, because Katie still has that concern, and we talked about it a little bit last week. Grace brought it up. She has, Katie says it, that they're still concerned that we aren't completely done yet. And I told Katie this. I go, look, honey, if I'm going to start drinking again, I'm going to pack a bag. I'm going to kiss you goodbye. I'm going to kiss my kids goodbye. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to turn my keys over to my company vehicle to the owners of the company, and I'm just going to go drink. And whatever happens, happens. Because at that point, I'm giving up and I'm throwing in the towel.
Well, and Brad said it perfectly. We didn't backfill that hole.
No, it's still there.
This is a progressive disease. Yes. You pick up right where you left off, and I've seen it a million times.
You know what? I had some... And we've talked about this, but I was down in LA last week, and I ordered some vodka pasta out of an Italian restaurant.
Hold on.
You've never had it? Oh, God.
Obviously not.
Oh, my God. It's so fucking good.
Vodka pasta.
Yeah, it's a vodka sauce. And
okay, I got you.
It's a vodka sauce is what it is, and it's so good. So good.
Do they make a Jack Daniels version of that?
They make a steak, though.
Oh, yeah.
But I also talked to you about that, about the different things, and that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And
hey, but there are some people with many years of sobriety that won't touch tiramisu or fondues. That's just.
But go into that. Are they spiritually fit?
In my opinion,
yeah, no.
Well, don't forget my opinion. What would our literature say? No. Yeah. You still have an alcohol. If you can't go down a liquor aisle, you still have an alcoholic mind. The book says.
Well,
I mean, do you guys have a problem?
I don't.
But again,
I cook
that's
my
how
fish in a beer batter. I mean,
but that's how they choose to live. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't do that.
so I read a lot of pages on the internet of sobriety. You know, I mean, I know Rob's kind of, it's not his favorite thing for people, but I did drink NAs when I quit, you know.
Non-alcoholics.
Yeah, just that habit of having something in my hand when I got home and
But
drinking.
eventually, I told you that would.
Yeah,
Put it down.
I
You did.
rarely have them anymore. I mean, I caught myself like pounding them before I was going to leave. Like, what are you, you're not going to catch a buzz real quick. Like,
you know what? I think it was shortly after I got out of rehab is I heard somebody say, if you're gonna drink a margarita, virgin margarita, you might as well drink a margarita because it will lead to that.
I remember I ordered a Virgin Bloody Mary. That was
What's the point?
Tomato juice.
I have had a michelada with the NA.
Is there
in it.
anything
It's
virgin that's
pretty
any good?
Dude, I just answered that in my head so many different ways that shouldn't come out on the podcast.
Never had one.
That's just my opinion. Hey, but let me, because Rob's opinion means two things. You know, that and $5 might get you a cup of coffee, but it ain't worth shit. Assuming we are spiritually fit, right? Physically fit, spiritually, we can do all sorts of things alcoholics are not supposed to do. People have said we must not go where liquor's served. We must not have it in our homes. We must shun friends who drink. We must avoid going to movies, which show drinking scenes. We must not go into bars. Our friends must hide their bottles. If we go into their houses, we mustn't think or be reminded of alcohol at all. Bullshit. We meet these conditions every day. An alcoholic who cannot meet them still has an alcoholic mind. There's something the matter with his spiritual status. His only chance for sobriety would be someplace in the Greenland ice cap. And even there, an Eskimo might turn up with a bottle of scotch and ruin the whole damn thing, right? Go to page 41. Well, I'm not going to page 41, but the answer's on there. So that is not that's what that says, and that is my experience. I got to talk to Jay last night for quite a while. You know, my first sponsor, who I love, is my father now, who got sober in 1974, 2 years before I was born. So I've got and so anytime I give you my opinion, he and I have sit down for hours. His sponsor, Van, got sober in 1954, and we've talked a lot about that. And I've got notes from, you know, so we've talked about, or, you know, mid 50s, 60s, 70s, when he, you know, all that, I've got all that experience gleaned. That's why, you know.
Yeah. I had somebody say the other day, they asked me about, I'm trying to remember how she put it. She said something about you put your faith in Rob, or, you know, your faith in, I know how it came up. It was Katie. She says, I'm having trouble putting my faith that you're still sober. And I said, you know, putting faith in you that you're still sober. And I said, here's the problem, Katie. Don't put your faith in me.
Never.
It's don't. If you put your faith in me, I will fail you. I promise you. I will fail you multiple times.
Not drinking, but just we're human. We're going to fail.
We're human. I said, I don't put my faith in Rob. I go, because if Rob went out tomorrow and started drinking again and he fell off, if I have my faith in him, I'm probably going to follow him.
You're gone.
Right? Same way with Brad, same way with the group of guys. My faith is in God in heaven above. That's the only place I put mine. In my list of stuff, I put God, my sobriety, my wife. It's not God, Rob, Brad. You know, my faith in our brothers all the Oakdale group. Would it be rough for me if something happened? And you know, and that's why when we talk about guys that are sick and within our group, it hurts, right? Because we're tight. So when I hurt. I mean, it's just no different than my brother hurting or my sister hurting.
And I've buried enough fucking people. I'm tired of this.
I don't want to see it. I don't. So when I see my brothers hurting, my natural reaction is to say, fuck you. That's my natural reaction. If you want to bang your head with that hammer and continue to bang your head, even though we've told you if you stop banging your head with that hammer, it won't hurt, and you want to continue to bang your head, go. Just continue to bang, go down, but do it somewhere else so I don't have to fucking watch you.
But yeah, even though we know what's going on, it still bothers us because we love them.
It hurts.
And we know there's a solution. God's the solution. Right. We know the joy. Look at we have the greatest life.
It's so easy.
I've never been, I can't imagine being happier.
You know, and we talked about this last week that I mean, with the podcast, right? And it's doing very, very well. I mean, this podcast is doing amazing, and it's because God's been a part of this, right? We've put God in the front seat of this the entire way, and it's doing very, very well. But I was under attack last week, last 2 weeks, attack. And I talked to Rob. I think I even talked to Brad a little bit, and I'm pretty sure I talked to Jason. And in fact, I know I did. Just attacked, and I recognize that attack, right? I know where it's coming from, right? I know for a fact.
And we had talked about that because we have a lot of brothers, or I shouldn't say people, when stuff like that happens. Hey, Rob, the devil's after me, and I'd like, hold on, baby. I'm not saying we don't have an enemy. I absolutely agree. However, I can do bad all by myself.
Right.
I don't need him. Let's make sure, because 9 times out of 10, it's not.
Right.
It's you. But in your case, that was straight up.
That was the devil.
That was straight up attack, baby.
I was a devil coming after me hard. But you know what? Comes up, where's your guys' faith? Yeah, our book teaches us, and I've said this so many times, that I learned more about God, and I got closer to God when I got into AA. And when I was teaching men's Bible study.
Why?
I don't know, Rob. I think my mind was clearer. Action. And we've talked about that.
Action.
Right. And my mind was clearer. I wasn't putting faith in man at all anymore.
Because we failed ourselves.
Right,
Everything has failed us. We had no choice. Okay, God, either you are or aren't. Either you're everything or nothing. We have, and what does he want us? Right there. And we took action. We just didn't sit there, hey, God, open a door for me, help me. No. God hits a moving target. You got moving, you got busy.
Right. Well, when my pastor, when I was heavy into teaching Bible study and this and that when my kids were little, I'm not going to say he let me down. I mean, but I put all my faith in him.
You told me you had him on a pedestal.
I had him on a pedestal on top. He was everything for me. If he would have told me to jump off a bridge, I'd have jumped. Right. I mean, that's just the way I was at that time, because my faith was put in him, and in the people of the church. It wasn't in God. Right. Mm-hmm. So when that failed and that went away, I was like, screw that. And I went the other direction.
And you know how many people are in the rooms of AA? How many stories have you heard in the shares? People just like that.
Right.
Church let them down. God let them down. No, that man did or that woman did. Right. God had nothing to do with it.
You hear people say this all the time. Well, I got a resentment with somebody in the room. What? Tell them. Talk about it.
Or go pray for them.
Go pray for them, but you're going to fucking let that one man put you back on a beer?
I used to piss people off in the rooms on purpose because I know they have a good, but only people that had a good sponsorship, because their sponsor's going to do this. Going to take them to page 550. Trust me. Watch this. I know I'm sick, but listen. When I was going through something, I needed more prayer. I felt I did. If I knew you had a good sponsor, I'd fucking piss you off, because their sponsor's going to tell you, they're going to, Matt Robb shared this, and he go to page 552, and it's going to say this. He said, in effect, if you have a resentment you want to be free of, if you will pray for that person, the thing that you resent, you'll be free. If you ask in prayer for everything you want for yourself to be given to them, you will be free. Ask for their help, their health, their prosperity, their happiness, and you will be free. Their sponsor's going to take them there. Oh, Rob pissed you off? You need to pray for him. I get all kinds of prayers.
I remember going to a meeting, and I came to you and I was venting. I'm like, oh, that meeting last night, it was shit. And, I didn't get fed out of it. And, they were just talking about it. And it had nothing to do with anything. And then you looked at me and said, then why don't you chair it? And I'm like, fuck you.
I like what I used to tell Rob that. He was like, well, maybe they just need to hear what you had to say. And I'm like, there ain't no fucking way they need to hear what I had to say.
You know what's great about that? Because I don't think anybody needs to hear what I need to say. But when I'm done saying it, I feel better.
Right.
And that's the key.
100%. It's the same thing with this podcast. I mean, I don't know. I've said from the very beginning, all I want is to save one man's life. That's it. Yeah. God has put this in started with me, brought Rob into it, Brad, Mary, Jason, everybody that's been a part of this has been brought, and all I want is one person to be saved, right? That's it. If we do this for 10 years and only one person gets saved, God bless. But that's what we do, right? That's where we're going. That's what this is for.
But in the meantime, all of this iron is sharpening each other. We are all sharpening one another. We're growing.
Well, me and Grace left here the other day, on the way home. We had about a 20-minute drive home, and it was this. We've talked about all this stuff before, but I don't know, for some reason coming on here, and on our way home, we just felt relieved. Just like we got it out. She said some things that I've never heard.
Right.
And I'm sure I've said some things she didn't hear, and I was just, we were both like, and she kept me on a straight line, so the listeners know I couldn't be bullshitting.
That was so awesome, because she would come in and as tactful as she is and amazing as she is, she spoke well. It was a great balance. What she brought was, and I loved when Mary and Matt were here, but this was they had a little more balance to it. This was amazing. It was amazing.
But even at meetings today, like when it comes around to me, sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, I hope we run out of time and I don't have to speak, or or when it's kind of going in that line, you know, where people aren't calling any me. Because I know you fuckers are in the room. I know if one of you get called, the whole group's going to get fucking called on.
Do you think those people in the meeting know that? Don't call on Rob, Larry, Brad, because them fuckers will just start calling on each other.
I think it's awesome when we all get, you know, because we're all happy. We're all eager.
Right.
You know, now I think in my 2.5 years, I've been to quite a few meetings, but I've maybe passed once. And even if it's this, I had a couple sentences to say, you know, I got it out there, and I've gotten better at it. I still don't think people want to hear what I have to say, but I say something. But now I see myself being like Rob. When I see a guy in there just fucking defeated, and he's been in there a few times, I'm like, hey, repeat offender, huh? Fucking figure it. Like, I'm like Rob now. He needs something. He needs some kind of hard love, you know.
And again, I don't call it tough love. I just call it love.
I 100% Rob.
Because you get these people in there. We're so glad you're back, and
or they start laughing like it's Cheers, and Norm just walked in. Now that ticks me off.
There's gonna be a lot of people that disagree with this.
That's
but
fine.
I've been to some hardcore men's meeting, and I, you know, there's new guy. People are like, "Oh, you're the reason why we're here. We're so glad you're here." And then you get another guy. He's like, "I'm the most important person in this room, not you." And I'm like, "Damn."
That was a good meeting too.
But you're like, it's the truth, you know. You still got to look out for yourself. You are the only person that's going to get yourself to do the work and be sober. If someone talks to you, that's not going to get you sober. You got to do the work. You got to get it out. You need to talk.
You know, one of the things I learned early in, I was frustrated last night because that meeting was so big, right?
Right.
And because I like to talk so much, even though, and Brad, you make a great point, even though what I'm saying to myself is what I need to hear, right? Mm-hmm. Whether anybody else in the room agrees, does anything for them, it's what is coming to me, and it's what, for anything I do, I have to speak about it, right? It's why I enjoy doing this. But normally, like in a big room like that, when I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to talk and blah, 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 I'll get a piece of paper and I'll start writing down what I want to share, right? I'm going to write it down, because if I don't, when I first started in there, if I'd be like, oh, I got to talk. And then when they wouldn't call on me, I would just be,
I've been doing that before, looking at time. Well, these fuckers need to shorten it up. It's my turn.
Right? Yeah. But what I've learned is if I start writing that down, if I start kind of gauging the room and going, you know, I'm not going to get a chance, I'm just going to write this shit down, and I'll put it, and if I go through my book, you'll see notes in my books on little pieces of paper. And it's because I knew I wasn't going to have a chance to talk. So I write it down. And if I don't get called on, I don't get called on. Then I'm perfectly fine, because I got out what I needed to get out. And last night in the meeting, I started reading something that I wrote a long time ago, and it was about fear, right? And it starts talking about my fear of not being called on in a meeting. I'll show it to you.
But how awesome is that? If that's one fear you've got,
it is.
You're doing pretty damn good.
I want to talk. You know what? What I say may not make a damn sense to you. And there's been times I've walked out of a meeting and go, that sounded fucking retarded, Larry. But this is me. This is who I am. And I'm okay with that.
But that's what it's all about.
I'm okay with that.
It's all about you getting it out.
Right.
My problem is I'll sit there and be like, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that, and it's going to be great. Then I'm just going to throw a little joke in there to make people laugh, and then
then it gets to you, and what happens?
And nothing. That was like all week. You know, I was running a loader yesterday all day, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on the podcast tomorrow. I got this. This is going to be great and great. And if I don't take notes, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's like for me, the notes I had right here starting this, because normally if we have speakers in here, like when Brad and Grace were in here, Rob and I just bounce off of you and Grace, so we really don't have to prepare. But when it's just Rob and I, we typically have to prepare, and I have some stuff ready. In fact, I'm going to break away from this conversation in a minute because there's a couple other things I want to go over with you guys.
Go.
So, but yeah, I mean, these notes, I stopped looking at these notes a long time ago because we started going. So, Brad, I want to bring something up because you sent it to me before when we asked you to come on the show. And I really do like it. Anthony Hopkins is probably one of my favorite guys in sobriety. If you get a chance to listen to any of his stuff. And you sent this to me a while back. And I want to play the whole thing. And I know we've been reading and playing stuff a lot, but this one, it means a lot. And I love this one. And then we're going to break it down a little bit and talk about it.
I asked God to take my habit away. God said no. It is not for me to take away, but for you to give it up. I asked God to grant me patience. God said, no. Patience is a byproduct of tribulations. It isn't granted, it is earned. I asked God to give me happiness. God said, no. I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you. I asked God to spare me pain. God said, no. Suffering draws you apart from worldly cares and brings you closer to me. I asked God to make my spirit grow. God said, no. You must grow on your own, but I will prune you to make you fruitful. I asked for all things that I might enjoy in life. God said, no. I will give you life so that you may enjoy all things. Then I asked God to help me love others as much as He loves me. God said, finally, you get the idea.
So there's a lot there. So I cut that up a little bit because I want to kind of just, we're not talk deep into it, but there's so much in there. We could literally do an hour on this right there. But I want to talk about this one first.
I asked God to take my habit away. God said, no. It is not for me to take away, but for you to give it up.
So I've been reading Samuel in the Bible, in the real book. And, we talk about this all the time. If you read the Old Testament, there's so much, they talk about so much sacrificing of the burnt and, the cows and the sheep and sacrifice of this. And it hit me this morning that everything that I bring up and everything, the only thing He wants me to sacrifice is me, right? That's it. I don't need to sacrifice anything. He'll take what He wants. If I just sacrifice me and my habits, if I just turn it over to Him, but do we really turn it over? That's the key, right? Do we really turn it over and give it to Him?
It depends. If you want to talk about the other book, in the book of Romans, what he says.
Hold on. Let's make sure. Some people aren't going to like how you said that.
What I say?
You said the other book. It is the book.
Yeah, well, the one you're talking about.
Yeah, the Bible.
It says, be a living sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem? Okay, in the Old Testament, what you're talking about, those sacrifices were dead.
Right.
They had blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sprinkle the blood, fellowship offerings, all that stuff. The book of Romans tells us to become a living sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? What can a living sacrifice do that a dead one can't? We walk off the fucking altar.
Right.
I walk off the altar. I don't, there are times I give it to Him,
right,
and I take it back.
Right.
Give it to Him. You'll know you've given it to Him if you don't possess it anymore. We talk about resentments.
Right.
God, take this from me.
Mm.
If you still hold on, if you still have it, there's one of two reasons. Either your God's not big enough to take it, or you didn't give it to Him. You still want it.
Just what we were talking about last week, getting attacked. There was so much that the attack was coming because there were certain things in my life that I didn't want to give away. One is my control of situations, right? So the devil, and I believe this to be true, he knows what I'm holding on to. He knows what I'm holding on to. And that's where he attacks. When I say he attacks, that's where I see those weaknesses still pop up, and those character flaws that I have. I mean, there's certain character flaws that make me who I am, and I'm probably, I'll tell God to give them up, but you said it last week, there are certain things He took from you that He didn't want you to take, and there's certain things He...
There's certain things I thought He was going to take, and He's like, no, I'm going to sharpen these and teach you how to use them the way I want you to use them.
I mean, they're in...
If I will allow Him.
Right. And there's certain things that He keeps giving me back that I'm like, why are you keeping this? Why am I keeping this habit that I have, right? Why am I keeping this?
You know why?
Why? Because I'm using it. I'm using it to glorify Him. I'm using it right here. My selfishness of everything I'm doing right here, this is to glorify Him.
Why are you holding on to tobacco?
Because I'm shut up, Rob. God damn it.
Got him.
Dick.
I don't
know. It's an old.
Is your God not powerful enough to remove it?
100% He is. I ain't turned it over to Him.
Oh, okay.
I ain't, because I don't want to. Same way I didn't do my alcohol.
But why don't you want?
Because I don't want to.
Control.
Yeah, it's control. It's mine. God damn it, and I want to keep it as long as I want.
Okay, hey, I'm just asking.
Well, I mean
I'm just asking, baby.
You ripped a scab, fucker. I mean, Katie gets me on that a lot. It's probably one of Katie's biggest resentments to me right now. Still,
She
my
probably
company.
doesn't want to kiss you with all that shit in your mouth, right?
Listen to you, butt smoker.
I chew pouches.
Hey, and both of you are looking at it, man. And you were both with me, or you weren't with me, but Brad was definitely with me. Going through the cancer.
Yeah.
You know, I chewed for 32 years,
No.
right? And nor was my cancer.
Yeah.
You know, and here you are. I mean, look how powerful that is. You know, and trust me, if you went through 2 days of what I went through, you would throw that shit as far as you could.
Right.
Oh, I think about it once in a while, this you and talking about, and then seeing that fucking mask.
Oh, the headgear that I had to wear?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that.
And then this the
When
way
they-
your
when-
neck looks now from being fried from the treatment. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that picture.
How do you,
I'll show it to you.
when you were in school, did that guy ever come in school
Oh,
where
yeah.
half his fucking
Yeah.
jaw is missing? Well, they don't do that shit anymore in school. What the hell?
No more scared straight. Because
Yeah,
they're weak. They're pussies.
I was
Mm.
talking
They couldn't
about
handle it.
we had
No.
a school thing the other day, and I was like, "Where's the dude where his jaw's half missing?"
Or
I mean,
they got the hole right here. How you doing? I got
yeah.
All right, let's go.
I asked God to grant me patience. God said, no. Patience is a byproduct of tribulations. It isn't granted, it is earned.
Rob.
What's that, baby? Patience?
I have really trimmed the way I pray that. Somebody told me a while back, show me the way of patience.
That
Right.
well, show me the way of patience. That's kind of like ties into the prayer of St. Francis.
Mhm.
And I want to give credit before we go.
Mhm.
I didn't know you were going to play that. I didn't know which.
Right.
But that is a poem, I believe. I know it's a poem. Claudia Minden
Okay.
Weiss is
Okay.
the author of that. Just to give
Yeah,
her credit
I had
for
never heard it
Yeah.
until I'd heard.
that. It's big in AA.
I'd
which is
heard
true.
it before, but it'd been a long time. And then Brad sent it to me. It hit him, and he wanted to go through it. He wanted me to play it last week when Brad and Grace when they were here together, and I just couldn't. I mean, when the dynamics of that episode, I just couldn't figure out where to stop
To
it.
me, it's just, I want this, and I want this.
We don't-
It's
Go ahead.
100%.
you
Go ahead.
you got to do it. You got to
Right.
earn it. You got to
Everything.
learn it.
Everything.
But
Yeah.
how many times you guys? I mean, a lot of people because God is not a damn vending machine.
Mm-mm.
How many times you guys just thank Him? Just don't ask for nothing. Don't just thank you
I
for
do.
what you've already given. Because
I do. I find that I do.
but going on the patience, don't pray for patience. God will
No.
stick you in an airplane for
Right.
8 hours with
Or
a crying
strength.
with a crying baby.
Or make you tougher.
Right.
Because he will. I mean, but it's how
But
it
you
comes.
won't
But,
like it.
but let me ask you this. I want to ask you guys a question. I used to get this because the one knock on God is how could a good, loving God allow bad things to happen? Because He does, right? Could God have stopped my cancer?
Uh-huh.
Right? I believe He could.
Yeah.
He didn't. He could have. So He allowed it, right? But now, Brad and Larry, you guys answer this individually. In your lives, when have you experienced the most growth? When you were on the mountaintops or when you've had to walk through something?
From the valley, baby. From the valley
So
up.
why would God allow us to walk through the valley? Why would God allow bad things to happen? And I'll ask you the question again. When's the time in your life where you've seen the most spiritual growth, emotional growth, strength? Where did it come from?
What do you mean?
Adversity or good times?
Adversity. Yeah.
So why would God
adversity.
allow us to go through adversity? I mean, I don't understand why they would ask that question because
Well, we've talked about this before. I mean, this is something that we've talked about. It's the
Getting
same
on the
thing
other
going-
side, but
well,
they-
it's the same thing going back to we move at the speed of pain. It's the same
Right.
thing that we've talked about before. I was talking to a guy, and it's Jason's brother-in-law. I was talking to him about that same thing, how you say that, and he's a pastor, and he said, "I love that. I haven't heard it put that way before, but we do. I mean, I knew I was an alcoholic,
but it's only on the other side of that pain where we grow.
right?
And
Well,
That was me. I built the wall, put all the shit on the other side of it, and I'm like, I ain't going over there.
But a lot of
I'm
people that
good.
don't come in the rooms because they're pissed off at God because God, they had bad childhoods. They had this, and how could God allow that? And how could God allow this? And they didn't allow that experience to grow them.
I didn't. I see it when you put it that way. I never had that. I always loved God. I knew God. I was like a scorned child hiding from
But
my father.
I didn't, and I had a
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
good
this is
friend.
what
I
we-
had a
Right.
really good friend die when we were in junior high. You get a phone call, hey,
Right.
one of your really good friends has gotten in a car accident and he died. Like you're over his house all the time, spending nights just
That
doing
happened.
stupid shit, doorbell ditching, smoking cigarettes in the house. Retards.
Right.
You're never gonna get caught doing that. My sister, my grandparents went quick. Just a lot of death, crazy stuff. So I had that.
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
Like, your God's so great, but why is He taking all these things from me? Like, why do I live in a
And that's
home
tough to overcome.
where the
Right.
wheels are still fucking underneath it,
Right.
and my parents are doing what they're doing? Like,
Right.
why?
Yeah.
Why?
I lost a very good friend the summer between my sophomore and junior year, Doug Holloway. He died with another good friend of ours that was in there, and it was my first taste of death as a young person dying, right? And it was brutal. And we struggled with that for a long time. And he was such a good guy. And watching his dad, and then his dad and my dad were good friends, and watching him.
And his younger brother was my age, Tim, and he really struggled with his brother being killed.
Yeah, but even through that time, I knew where Doug went. I never had a problem with that ever. So when you ask me about that growth, my growth is in my relationship, how much closer I've gotten to my relationship. So that when you ask me those questions, where did my growth come from? My growth came from when I dropped that veil and said, "Come to me, Father. Let me, as I come to you, I want to get closer to you," right? Because when I was in rehab and I would sit on that front porch and read every morning at 5 a.m., I felt closer and closer and closer.
But it's a relationship. If you don't invest in a relationship, wife, friendship, God, it's going to be stagnant. That's why, first we had to do this work, which you don't got to get good to get God. You got to get fucking honest with yourself. And once you do that when God you meet him right there, and you meet him warts and all, that's when magic happens. Whenever
I turned that over, because so many mornings driving to work, I'd say, "God, take this from me. Please, why, right?" I couldn't understand what happened between that drive that I took every morning when I was begging God to the day that the day that I walked into Mainers at 2:36 a.m. on April 12th. What happened? Why did that obsession take away from me? We've said it is because I took action, right? I asked a million times. But until I took action, it was never going to go away.
God hits a moving target. Waiting on the Lord never means sitting on your thumb, waiting for God to do something. Stay moving, keep doing the next right thing. He'll hit a moving target.
Even when I was in Mainers, I wasn't going anywhere. I was sober, but I wasn't going anywhere until I started, till I started doing action. I started reading, and then,
when you realize you can only control yourself and not the program.
Dude, when that realization hit me that I couldn't control everything else around me, that all I can do is control me.
I'm going to be a patient, but I'm going to run the show while I'm here.
Let me tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, poor Shauna.
For me is when I got sober. This last 2.5 years is, I've grown more in this than I think I did in the first 36 years of my life.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I thought I grew up. I thought I had it figured out. And then now it's like, I got a long ways to go. I'm learning every day.
And even his crew. I mean, because I go around, talk to him. How's Brad doing? Night and day.
Yeah.
Night and day leader. Night and day leadership. It's
when you think you're done learning.
Yeah.
Hey, that's when God's going to find you.
I'm happy now, and it's just I want to keep learning. I want to keep doing this.
Happy.
I asked God to give me happiness. God said no. I give you blessings. Happiness is up to you.
And then you got to know what a blessing is.
Right.
A blessing ain't a new truck. I mean, it is, but there's the smallest things in life.
Right.
Waking up today was a blessing. Opening your eyes was a blessing.
I didn't come to. I woke up.
Right.
Taking my son to go get football pictures. It's a blessing.
Amen.
Sometimes things might be a burden, but things are blessings,
I say this.
What Rob says it all the time. You get to.
Right.
You get to do these things. We don't have to.
Get to go to work.
Wow.
You get to.
I said that one day coming home. I got to go home and do this. I got to go home and it was something. And Rob goes, "Larry, you get to." And I'm like, and it hit me. Yeah, you know what? I get to go do this. And it was something I didn't want to do.
Words.
Well, you see it in a lot of meetings because, I mean, there's people that get sober real quick and they get blessed fast.
Oh.
I mean, we're talking, that could be luxury things, money, job. Like, people all of a sudden, they just blow up and they get a lot of blessings. And then you got that guy in the corner that sometimes I feel like that's why they're there.
Right.
You're like, oh, I quit drinking. I'm going to get all these things. But if you don't do the work and you don't put yourself in situations, you're not.
Right.
And you should only be blessed that you're sober and you get another chance at life.
That different perspective that comes. Well, today in the meeting, the topic kind of came up, just putting down the bottle. Because now, what blessings are going to come from that? Of course, you should put down the bottle. But some guys come in, they don't do the work. They put down the bottle and expect all these. I mean, that's not your problem. If you sober up a horse thief, what do you have?
A horse thief?
A sober horse thief.
Right,
He's
right,
still stealing.
right.
You don't solve the problem.
Right.
You got to get down to causes and conditions. Putting the bottle, that's, when people come in, I need to control my drinking. Really? Why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
Normal people, I mean, I say normal drinkers, people that can take it or leave it alone, like we know, many that we know, they don't ever think that way.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to control it, you're not enjoying it.
No.
When you're enjoying it, you're not controlling it. So but the sad thing is, we know those people.
Yeah. So when I said it last night, when I'm talking to one person and that one person doesn't get it, I get frustrated with that one person, right?
Right.
So this is kind of open back veils on me, and I'm kind of working through this with my own brain right now, quite honestly. But when I'm talking to a mass of people, and if I get one person out of that mass of people that can understand it, and I don't have to watch those other 99 faces that don't get it, I don't get frustrated. I know I helped that one person out of that 100, and that's all I care about. And I'm okay, and I'm good with that, right? But when I got to talk with one person and try to help them understand what this thing can do, and they just sit there with a blank stare, or they try to get me to do marriage therapy with them, and they don't want to talk about their own problems, I fucking lose it.
Well, it's different tools. Fishing with a net, like you're doing,
Right?
as opposed to me fly fishing.
Right.
Getting that one.
Right.
He's out there trying to snag them.
Yeah. And there's different gifts.
Yeah. Get over here.
Yeah.
For me, it's a blessing. I know this is going to sound fucked up, but seeing people in and out is a blessing for me, because it reminds me why I am where I am. Because
that's the other
right
side
where I need to be.
Right.
I need to be right here.
Right.
This is where I need to be.
And that is the opposite side of me, how I look at it, right? I mean, if you're going in and out, bouncing in and out, motherfucker, stay out there and finish, and then come back. I mean, that sounds fucking harsh, right?
That's what we say, though.
But I mean, I can't.
But what is finished?
Fuck whatever it is. Finish.
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that goes back to what, you got to lose the right thing.
Sometimes they don't make it back.
I don't know.
That's what scares me. I mean, I've been in a group of men. We had a group of men, and he ain't here no more. And I didn't think that was gonna be something I was gonna experience that fucking quick.
Right.
Right.
And that was over pussy.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Pink or green, buddy. That's
Yeah.
our problem.
Right.
And if men have a problem, it's something to do with pink or green. Money or pussy.
Yeah, it's.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Wait, hold on. We got to apologize. This is unfiltered. Sorry, God.
Right.
But that's it. Pink or green.
Right.
Come on.
There's only two things promised in life, and that's death and taxes.
Right.
Both those things are going to come for you. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. That's the only thing promised in life. There's nothing else promised. Well, I'm not promised I'm going to be sober tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I could tell you the IRS is coming for me, and I could tell you that death is going to come.
Right.
That's why I don't fear it anymore. You ain't stopping it.
Nope. And here's the other thing: you're not going to stop. You're not going to stop tomorrow coming. It's going to come, right?
Whether we're here or not.
Whether we're here or not, it's going to come, and how you approach it is how you're gonna react, right? I choose to approach it in a light that is going to make me feel better. Me feeling better, if it makes you feel shitty, that ain't my fucking problem.
Go call your sponsor.
Right. Go fuck. I can't help you, man. This is
You
me.
sure it's not your problem? Sometimes.
No.
Sometimes you let it affect you.
I do. You're right, and that's when I'm having a shitty day, and I fucking allow it. But
But
know
that's
what?
because you have a huge heart. But sometimes
God.
when you want the best for somebody,
That's how I protect myself.
your asshole comes out
Right.
in you
And that's
instead of love.
Right.
And I've talked about I'm not the best
Right.
lover, but our delivery ain't the best.
No, and that's how I protect myself. It is. I mean,
I had a lady at work. She's like, Brad, maybe you should work on your delivery. I'm like, and
I'm
I
not
had
a comedian.
I had to sit back, and I'm like, I think you're right. Even with my wife, my delivery is not that good.
oh, I'm horrible. I know. It is what it is.
But here's the thing: don't beat yourself up
I don't.
No.
anymore.
I don't.
We used to.
Oh, I know. I do.
You were terrible about picking up the bat.
Oh,
but
yeah.
now just be grateful that we recognize. Wow, look at these flaws. Something to work on. More growth to happen. And
We never looked back.
No, I say it now.
We wouldn't self-reflect and be like, "Oh, we were an asshole today."
I had to text Brad last night after I got home. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry for being a dick at dinner last night. But I just was frustrated. I mean, I get that way, and sometimes I can't filter it. And when I feel it affecting my happiness, I have a problem with that, right? And I have to check myself and go, you know what, Larry, you're just being a dick.
Well, look at us. We both almost ran right through the lady at the Chinese
Oh,
restaurant.
yeah, we
right?
both
Like,
had to check
we
ourselves.
walk in the Chinese restaurant. The lady's like, "Oh, we close 8:30." And it's like
Hold on.
8:01.
Do that again.
No, it's not right.
Well, it's just how we do it.
And my
What time was
it was like
8:01.
8:01 or something. And I'm looking at my watch and I'm looking at the lady and my mouth's starting to.
Oh, I was
Grace over there. Grace hits me because I'm like,
Katie was
"Do
starting
you
to walk
want us
out.
to eat or not?" Like,
Yeah.
she was pretty much like,
she
"You
was
had to hurry the fuck up." And then Larry told him, "Well, good thing we came at the last minute. We got our food fast."
right. Well, I told her, I go, guess we got to eat like Marines. Shove it in and
See,
get out.
But that's where you two are so much alike. I'm surprised.
That
And I'm proud
asshole.
of both
Dude,
of you.
I
I'm
was
proud.
I was waiting. Who was firing first?
Katie
him
was
or
getting
me?
ready to walk out. She was she
knew it was coming.
She knew it was coming, and she was getting ready to bounce. And I was like, "Yeah." I go. We'll be done by 8:30 eating. We'll be done. She's like, "Okay, come with me."
By that time, we didn't get out of there till like 45 hours.
Yeah, but they were eating behind us, and
They're
then they come up and gave Brad a
feed
free
me
cake.
cake and-
Yeah.
That's a gift
and
from
she
God
ended up
right there.
sitting behind us and
Chiming
super
in.
nice. Yeah,
Remember,
she
she's
was part of
chiming
our
in.
conversation. She was cool. Yeah. Anyways,
I want to touch on one more thing because
Hit me.
what we're frustrated with, the people that are brothers that are doing, as we were all upset, as I was driving home last night, there was one brother called and, with this one brother that we're like, come on, would you please get it? Calls me, Rob, I need your help. What do you, and we have that we had what 2.5 years ago, Brad would call a mean conversation, but he listened and I talked, but maybe this time he's ready. So as we're bitching about it, God's touching on him and he's reached another point to where he's reaching out for help. So let's hope this is the time.
ain't no different than what I went through with the other guy
Right.
here a while back.
But listening to you and like going back into the day when the meetings when you could smoke in there, like when you were doing this, you talk about how hard the old timers were.
They didn't hold no. If
So
you came
you-
in with a watch on, they'd say, "Go get drunk. You haven't lost enough. Get out of
So
here."
that's where you get it from, is and that's where I'm getting it, seeing it from you, and it's just I really believe that some people do need that hard living.
They need it.
I needed it.
Hey,
I had to have it.
but if they need a hug, I give it to them. If they need a pat on the
100%.
back,
If they ask me,
I give it to 'em.
absolutely.
I'm proven. My wife had to leave me.
yeah.
Right.
But the men God tends to bring me are ready to go at my go, and they need. I mean, that's why Larry's got a net. There's different people have different gifts.
All right.
The ones that he brings me are ready to go. The ground is the ground is tilled. The soil is ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
And he come on.
Right.
He has blessed
Right.
this avenue.
I don't know if I'd have gotten. Katie asked me this last night on the way home. Where would? Because last night I didn't mention my grand sponsor that sat across from me when I said something about you, and I said something.
Who
to Katie.
loves your guys' wives?
Yeah.
He loves your wives.
And I felt bad when I left. I'm like, oh man, I'm a grand sponsor sitting right across from me, and I mentioned my actual sponsor, which is Rob, she's like, but Jay led you to that. That led you to Rob and led you that. And something came up. She goes, where do you think you'd be without this group of guys? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know, because I needed this. What we have in our groups, I needed this. Some people need, we had another guy talking last night that he has several sponsees underneath him. And unfortunately, this thought went through my head. I would be drunk if that guy was my sponsor.
I know who you're talking about,
Yep.
and I thought the same
Dude.
fucking thing.
Ain't no way that man would have
Sorry.
ever, there's no way that man would have ever kept me
But-
sober.
But
But he's sober.
And that's what they
Yeah.
needed. That's what, and you're right, Brad. Who might have judged? I'm not
But look
judging.
at us. We need
Right.
Yeah.
people to call us on our shit.
Yeah.
We need to say,
100%.
hey, that's good, but you're a fucking asshole, so figure it out.
You know what would happen if Rob called me and asked me if my steps were done, and I said, no, I need a few more days? He'd be, motherfucker, I'm coming over in an hour. They better be fucking done. Right? I mean, but that's the way we did. And I needed that.
Yeah.
and just like the guy who you're talking about, he has different tools, and
Yes.
different men come to him,
Yes.
and
This is where you're blessed.
For sure. That's absolutely correct. That's the blessings I got. What you said in the very beginning, that the blessings came fast. Blessings for me came fast back for me. New job, you know, the motorhome, just the blessing.
But you were working your ass off.
Yes, I buried myself back into work.
Buried yourself into God and buried yourself into this. And
I overcommitted on you know, everything. I recently had to back out of some stuff because I overcommitted because I was working my ass off and too much to a point where it was taking away some happiness, right? I was given the happiness, but I was working at it so hard and so vigorously that I wasn't enjoying my sobriety, right? I wasn't enjoying what the fruits of what been given to me. I told you guys 2 Saturdays ago, I didn't make it to the Saturday morning meeting. Why? I had an opportunity to and I'm going to say it, I had an opportunity to Katie and I just laid in bed. Literally, we just laid there.
But how did you tell me?
Never spoke a word. Never spoke a word. We just shut up, Brad. Don't go the dirty thoughts, fucker. I said I'm getting a moment to enjoy the reason why I got sober. I'm not leaving this moment for nothing. And I laid right there, and Kane laid there for.
But were you sitting there thinking about all the shit you needed to do, or were you relaxing?
No.
Then that was
Brad. I'm going to tell you, it's the first time I can promise.
That's
the
what
first
you
time
need to
since
do.
I've been sober. That Katie and I literally laid there, and my mind was blank.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
What's that?
It ain't all about you.
What are you talking about?
Life?
No, fuck it ain't.
The shit don't all revolve around you.
Yes, it does. Don't be telling me that.
Hey, it's a hard lesson that I'm learning.
No, it is. The more, you know, we go back and we talk about patience, you know, that last one, well, the one before that, and even the happiness and that kind of stuff. I was coming back from Bakersfield, and I hadn't talked to this guy in a little bit, and I hadn't seen him, and he lived in Visalia area, and I was like, hey, I'm going to give this guy a call. I just hadn't talked to him, blah, 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 since, you know, it's been 2.5 years. So I called him, and I go, hey, what's going on, bud? I'm having a rough one. Like I said, meet me at a Starbucks right away, right? And I had to be back in town by 3:30 for football practice, and we met at I said, we'll meet at 12:30 or 12:15, and I got there, and he wasn't there yet. So I texted him, what do you want to drink? I'll take a Frappuccino. So I ordered a Frappuccino, and I sat there, you know, and now it's 12:30, 12:45. Now I'm starting to look at my watch now, and now it's becoming all about Larry, right? Now I'm like, fuck this motherfucker. I gotta be here. I gotta be here. I gotta be here. And then at that particular moment, it came into my head about my prayer that morning. God, show me the way of patience. Show me the way. Take out what you will and give me what you want from me. And I sat there, and I stopped, and I'm like, I'm going to sit right here until he shows up. And he didn't show up until 1:15, an hour after, a whole hour. And you guys know me well enough. I was fuming.
I don't even know if you would have waited for me that long.
I know you're taken care of. I don't know what was going on in this guy, right? I don't know. But I knew right at that moment that when you ask God for something and he presents it to you and you don't accept it, he was showing me the way of patience, right? He was showing me the way of patience. He was showing me the way of happiness.
He's watching you, he's like, Larry
most
needs
people
to wait
don't pray.
a few more minutes.
Most people don't pray expectedly.
No, absolutely.
They just pray.
I pray that every morning.
They pray hoping God's going to, dude, but then don't bother.
Right.
If you're not going to pray expecting God to answer, then don't fucking bother praying.
If I'd ignored that and just went on down the road, he may not have ever presented me with an opportunity to show me.
Here's another thing.
The next time would have been tougher.
No, yeah.
If you're going to worry, don't pray.
Right.
And if you're going to pray, don't worry.
Right.
And now to your happiness, tell me if this is true. Now, here's a quote, paraphrase. People are generally as happy as they choose to be.
100%.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, 100%.
Going on your
I heard it a long time ago. If I start my day and it starts to go shitty, I start it over again.
Hold on. I've heard that a lot. How do you? Everybody's different. How do you start your day over? What do you do? What are the actions you take?
Well, I do the same thing every morning. I'm up at 5 o'clock. I sit in my chair. I pour my cup of coffee. I open up my Bible, and I read the book. And I've been reading in Samuel. I read that for about 10 or 15 minutes. I shut that. I open up either something in my AA stuff, whether it's be sobriety, and I close that. I do that for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I pray. And then when I'm done with that, 4:30 or 5:30, 5:45, and I start making my breakfast and get ready. But I know if I don't do those steps, and if I get hurry and I don't do one of those steps, I can tell right away.
Okay,
I got to
now
start over again.
at 11 o'clock, though, somebody, for some reason, somebody does something. It's not water off a duck's back. Something pisses you off and you want to start your day over. What are the steps? Do you just pray? Do you read something? How do you start your day over?
I just got to recheck myself and say that's not, this is being attacked at you. And I don't know, Rob. That's a good question. I don't know.
Because everybody talks about I used to have to talk to,
Right.
that's why I bounce around. I have to talk to one of my brothers.
Right.
What helps me the most. I don't have to. I call a brother up.
I know I don't
Even say what was going on.
Right.
I just talk.
Right.
And then my days, click,
Right.
restart.
Yeah.
I most of the time for me, I stew on it for probably 30 minutes or an hour till I finally go, you need to let that go. Let
You
it
got
go. Right.
way too much time on your hands in the morning.
You can try to get up of a morning.
I do. I get up at 2 in the morning and
go
I
to work.
brush my teeth and throw my clothes on and try to fucking
Well, you
walk
need to
around the house like a mouse so I don't get in trouble
You need
and
to
get
wake
out
up
the
at-
door.
You need to wake up at 1:30 and do some reading.
Yeah, I don't got time for that.
But the great thing about
But I have
that,
an hour 50-minute drive to
Right.
work.
Right.
You know,
I
I
got
could go through my day and
I got 10 steps to go upstairs.
I do have a few friends that are up that early in the morning, do what I do, and I can
Right.
talk, you know, but yeah, I don't have time to get
Anyways.
up and do. I don't know how you guys do that stuff.
All right.
I asked God to spare me pain. God said no. Suffering draws you apart from worldly cares and brings you closer to me.
Speak it.
well, that's it. That's what I was asking.
Right.
And the reason I asked that before, because when I've been blessed to sit down, I'm going to talk slower with a lot of men. Number 1, 2, a lot of times on their resentments, and this is men, either men, whether they were raised in the church, agnostic, doesn't matter. The top 1 or 2 resentments are God or higher, with the God that they were taught, which is 9 times out of 10 wrong. And their number 1 or 2 resentment is this: why did God allow pain?
Right.
It draws you. If you allow it, it draws you near to Him.
Right.
That is our growth. But if you don't allow it, it just hurts.
Right.
And it pushes you away from God. So I love that part. And that's it.
That's where I'm at right now, you know.
Where?
All of this has drawn me closer because, you know, I'm a believer, but I'm not like my wife, you know.
Right.
She was raised in it and I wasn't. And now, you know, like I've said it before, if I believe in aliens, I got to believe in God, right?
Right.
Like something's out
Said that
there.
last night.
Yeah.
But it has drawn me a lot closer. I'm not the hugest prayer. I've never been a person to ask for things, you know. I'm all about praying for other people, you know, because at my point in my life right now, I drank all my blessings away. I was given, you know, I was very fortunate for, you know, where me and Grace got each other in life, and then I just started drinking all my blessings away, and now I got to get them back. Like I'm getting back what I used to have.
And then some.
Yeah, but it's drawn me closer to God. But I will tell you, if I walked into that room and it was God,
Oh, and we're
I would have been somewhere.
Aaron's
I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have dealt with it. You know, there was a little bit in there, but now I'm all about it. Like that's what the book's about. You know, and I'm okay with that today. It doesn't bother me. But I'm trying to get closer. We go to church here and there, and I'm trying to learn more about it. My wife knows it very well, and I started going to a men's Bible study here and there, and then I would learn some things, and I'd go home and then have her really tell me in layman's terms so I can understand it better. You know, I can't understand the Bible when I read it. I could get a little bit out of it, but
Let me tell you how surprising that was. I happened to see him. It was because it's the Tuesday night. Men's, which takes a break over the summer. Brad just kind of asked, "What do you do on Tuesdays, Rob?" This is not too long ago. Just months. And I tell him what I do. And that's at the church. Yeah. Okay. Then I didn't think nothing of it. And I'm sitting there. I get there early, BSing with the pastor. Me and the pastor are great friends, and he knows. And I talk to the pastor much like I, talk to you guys. Yeah, but you all know that. In walks Brad, dude, and I almost cried because that is growth,
right
for him.
Right.
I mean, he's as spiritually fit as anybody I know.
Oh, he is.
He is.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But watching his journey and taking that initiative, and he walks right in, sits down, and just jumps right in. It was, that's the joy. And that's why I get frustrated with people. You're watching this. You see, I mean, it's not. Now, let me ask you guys again. Remember the work we put into staying drunk and loaded, right? The planning.
Oh, boy.
And they say, wow, if you just put half the effort into your sobriety as you did into that, amazing. Is that accurate?
I don't even know if you have to put half.
I'm saying, that's what my question is. That
my
how
life
accurate is that?
revolved around that next drink.
Right.
I got to get out of here. I got to get home.
planning.
I can only have 2 here. Probably still get a DUI if I get pulled over. But that's just your stupid drinking. And then I get home and it's on. And then when it's on, then I might drive somewhere else.
The shit part about the last probably 4 or 5 months of mine is I got the shakes so bad. The shakes so bad that if I didn't.
When you were getting sober?
No.
No, he's still drunk.
No, when I was still drinking. But I would get this.
Oh, when your tank was empty?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I would wake up in the middle of the night just pouring sweats and shaking so bad that, I mean, I don't even know how Katie was sleeping. I was shaking so bad. But good God. The amount of work it took for me to know if I had enough to get through the night to get me through till 6 o'clock the next morning. That allocating that timing in my head to know, okay, I'm going to go to sleep at 9, about 11:30, 12 o'clock. I'm going to be waking up. Katie's just going to be going to sleep. Dude, the calculations.
But the mental energy we spend.
Oh, my God.
I wonder why we're tired all the time. You're just burning up energy, mind fucking ourselves.
Oh, my God. It was brutal.
Go back. Final.
I never had one. I never had. I hear people say that.
No, I had the saying just because we'd be somewhere. But I told them, final, babe. And then final was final.
First time I heard that was about a year and a half after I was sober in a meeting. And he was sitting there and he goes, yeah, we was going up to the room last night. And I told Brian just wanted a final. I'm like, final? What the fuck's a final? Oh, just the very last one. You're going to go to bed. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I didn't know that because I never had a final. Fuck. I mean, I just got to where I was drinking 24 hours a day. My final was April 12th, 2:36 a.m. That was my final.
I never got the shakes.
Oh, bud.
But I never woke up 1, 2 in the morning either and needed to have a shot.
Colds, the sweats. Oh, my God.
But just remember, every alcoholic's different.
Oh, yeah, I would wake up.
Just because you don't wake up at 1 in the morning.
That's right, buddy.
Right.
My biggest thing was I don't drink vodka. Back in the day, like real hardcore.
Just Fireball.
Yeah.
Fuck, here
real,
we go.
real hardcore drunks were vodka drinkers. Because that thing tasted like, that was shit. If you could drink that.
You know who trips me out? The binge drinkers. The ones that would go 2-3 months with dry, then they'd have, then of course the book takes over. They'd have that one drink, phenomenon of craving takes over, then they're off. The binge drinker would throw me off.
Right.
That one guy, he's like, I come in here for a month, then I go drink for a month, then I go back out for a month, then I come in for a month. And he's talking about puking his guts out all like this sicker and shit. I'm like, how did you do that?
I did it.
Why? You weren't a binge drinker.
No. But every Monday, because I would drink all Sunday. And every Monday, because I wouldn't like Brad, the job, I wouldn't get up in the morning to drink, couldn't on Monday.
Right.
And I'd be dry heaving, puking all Monday. Just tell him I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah, but you did it every day. This guy was doing it.
Oh, he was binging.
Every other, he'd go 1 month sober, 1 month drunk, 1 month sober.
I don't know how you do that.
Wow.
Yeah. Impressive.
A disease.
I asked God to make my spirit grow. God said, no, you must grow on your own, but I will prune you to make you fruitful.
I think that one means the most to me.
Why?
I will prune you to be fruitful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that ties into the one before that with pain.
I feel like that's where I'm at right now.
But why is he going to prune you?
I don't know. For me, it's like, here's the way, but you need to grow. Like, if you prune something, it's going to grow better.
And it's going to bear good fruit. It's going to bear more fruit.
Yeah.
And that's what we are. I mean, because you're going to, in your life, the good book tells us, the other book, right, tells us you're going to bear fruit.
Oh, yeah.
But are you going to bear good fruit? Or are you going to bear bad fruit? But you are going to bear fruit.
I say it all the time. I was grown. I was a man. I had it figured out. Now it's time to prune that back and grow again, but be better this time.
Think about an ungroomed rose bush, right?
Right.
It looks horrible. It's still a rose bush, right? It's got pretty roses that come in it, but it's an ugly son of a bitch.
But not as many as it could have if it was pruned right. And that's where you talk about going to God with your open hands.
Right.
Take what you, take it. Come on, sometimes the blows from God's chisel fucking hurt.
Oh, bud. Yeah, there's still parts of me that I'm just.
Sorry about the F word. It's sponsored by Fireball.
I got to do better. Katie keeps telling me, Larry, you got to cut back on the F-bombs.
I need to work on it.
It's bad, but
one thing at a time.
But yeah. Let me work on.
Hey, get rid of the Copenhagen first. She'll be happy. Then we'll work on and then you and I will work on the F-bombs.
Okay. That's the one thing. But there's certain things that I'm holding on to that I feel, and this is the shitty way to look at them, makes my personality, makes me who I am. So And that's a shitty way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
It is, because what I'm doing is making an excuse to keep what I got. Same way as making an excuse for my drinking.
Right.
Still the same. It's still the same excuses. I'm holding on to this because it makes me the man I am. Bullshit. That ain't the way I react to people is not how the man I am. That's not.
Do you want to be the man you are, the man God?
I want to be the man God makes me.
So
that's what I want to be.
Then allow him to prune
Right.
that if he wants to.
You said that right there. Allow him to do it.
Yeah.
And I just haven't. Right. There's certain things, like I said, I open up my hands and I say, God, take it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me have that one back.
You have that back.
Let me have that one back. I'll give you that one tomorrow. I'm going to need that today on my 10 o'clock meeting. I'm going to need that one.
Well, that's me. I mean, I let him in the passenger seat.
Right.
I let him hold the map, but I'm still fucking driving.
Right.
I'm not ready yet. You know, that's where I'm getting better at this.
Tomorrow,
but before he wasn't even in the car, was he?
Right.
Live life on life's terms. Just
tomorrow, let him have.
It wasn't in the car, that's for sure.
Tomorrow, let him put the foot on the brake, and you keep your foot on the throttle.
I might stop and roll the window down and see what he's doing, but but that's huge for me. You know, not growing up with any of that.
No,
I took this all upon myself.
You were gonna say something wrong?
No.
Oh.
I asked for all things that I might enjoy in life. God said, no, I will give you life so that you may enjoy all things.
Life.
That to me is like, it's time to get out there and start living.
That's what we go
get
back
after it.
That's when we go back to what we were talking about earlier about the dry drunk. The guy that he buys a portion of this program that's keeping him from drinking.
He does just enough,
right?
Maybe to get the heat off.
But he's not digging into the program. And until I dug into this program, and Brad, you were with me the first 3 or 4 months before we gave into the program. I was miserable. I was hating everything around me. And when that one girl in the back of the room, and I'm going to say this, that's once again, that moment of something that reversed that was that girl in the back of the room that said, I heard myself laugh for the first time. And I was like, oh, what? And the more I thought about that, the more I was like, I got to stop. I'm sober. I'm enjoying this. This is what God's given. And after that, I mean, I still have shitty days. Don't get me wrong.
Do you?
Yes.
Or do you just have hard days?
I don't know what you want to call them. Call them hard, call them shitty, call them whatever. I have days that I'd never do a poor me shit. I can tell you that. I haven't had a poor me moment for fucking years because it drives me fucking nuts. There goes the F-bomb again. I'm sorry, Mom.
That's all right.
Katie, I'm sorry about that. But I mean, I don't know if you call them shitty, hard. Fuck, I don't know. It is what it is. You get through it and you live for another day. I said this to somebody the other day. Somebody asked, how's it going, coach? One of the players, I said, hey, another day in the bonus round, baby. Here we go. And he looked at me, he goes, bonus round? I go, hey, we're alive, baby. And and you know what? That's the way I look at it. You know, it's another day.
Well, I know when I get older and I'm retired and I'm sitting at my house or out on my porch, I don't want to look back and be like, I wish I would have done that.
Right.
I wish I would have done that. When I'm at a point in my life where I'm, it's hard getting around or, my back's finally not going to stop hurting. It's always just going to be hurting. And I want to live life. I want to do those things.
Yep.
I want to be able to still do things with my kids, and I don't want to get old and have regrets that I didn't do shit. Because we ain't getting any younger.
No.
I want to touch on what you just read or what we just listened to about giving you life. And God says, I'll give you life so that you can enjoy other things.
Right.
And Brad talked about the new pickups, which he has.
Right.
But and he also talked about what he enjoys now, what matters to him now. It's not that.
Nope.
The things that matter most are taking Jonathan to pictures and and watching him run around. Just I was digging that.
Yeah.
What we value now, having gone through the hard and the tribulations, much different than
a couple years ago. I don't care if it was 9 a.m. I would have had a cup in my hand on that school, and it would have had some booze in it.
Right.
Get through all those kids running around.
That's the excuse we used. Oh, I gotta have something to drink to listen to all these damn kids. Now when I hear all those kids screaming, it makes me laugh.
But how good does it feel just to be present?
Right.
Oh, amazing.
In the moment.
Right. Now, I mean, Katie, I used to hate going to Disneyland because having cocktails and drinks at Disneyland was always a pain in the ass.
Expensive, isn't it?
Oh my God. To drink like I drank at Disneyland was a joke. Now I sent Katie something this morning. We got, we went to Disney World, I don't know, in March of this year. And I keep telling Katie, we got to get to Disneyland so I can get a palate cleanser because the Disney World is nothing like our Disneyland. It's completely different.
I was with or without kids?
No, it's just me and Katie.
Oh, fucking weirdos.
What?
Brad, I'm with you, baby. I'm with you on that.
People that go to Disneyland without kids trip me out.
Have you met Katie? She is a kid.
But your wife's different. She's a lovely lady. You, on the other hand.
I love going to that. You know why? It's not that I enjoy that. I enjoy watching my wife enjoy that.
Yeah.
Those are the pleasures I have now.
You can just drop the F-bomb and leave it there and tell me to fuck off. You don't have to.
No, but Brad, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
I got kids and I don't even want to go there.
Grown-ass adults that love going to Disneyland.
Take a second on my house.
Oh, hey, we're going to get a lot. They're going to drop. We're going to lose a lot of subs over that one. Like we give a shit. Anyway, I don't get it either, but to each his own.
But you know what? And I said that my wife is still, I mean, she loves that. She loves everything about that. I love watching her have the joy. And when I didn't before, I didn't. We'd go to Disneyland. I'd be a pouting little bitch. I didn't want to be there. I didn't because I had to plan where I was going to get my drinks. I always wanted to go over to California Adventure because that's where the alcohol was at. That's all where I wanted to go. Now I enjoy Disneyland. Yeah. You know, and I enjoy, and I don't enjoy being there. I enjoy watching my wife have the joy. I enjoy watching when I do go with my kids and when I get to go with my grandkids and when I get to do those things. I enjoy that. That's the life I enjoy now. Is my body enjoying it? No, I'm not. But man, watching those kids have a good time, watching my wife enjoy what's going on. And even here now, just going shopping with my wife, I enjoy that now where I didn't before. Any moment I get to spend with her is just bonus round for me.
Amen.
Bonus. You know, and you almost lost that.
Oh, yeah.
So
No. He almost gave that away.
Yes. Yep. And to say I want to take her.
But I still know what it feels like. You know, I did there for a while. So I don't know the full feeling, but I know a little bit of how it feels to lose it all.
And thank God I didn't. Thank God. Because we're
knocking on the door.
Oh, bud. I was banging on the door.
A couple more weeks, you didn't go to Maynard's, you probably would have lost a lot.
Oh, I know. It was done. It was done. If I hadn't went to Maynard's, it would have been, my life was right. I mean, it was there, right? I was looking over the edge. See that tattoo right there? At the edge of the sidewalk, baby, right there. I was looking over the edge right there. And I was going, if I jump, here's what's going to happen. If I turn around and look behind me and I see my wife, my kids, my grandkids, you know, and I see everything that I had. And that was that moment that I turned around and looked behind me before I jumped. Because I could have made a decision right then. I could have. And said, you know what? Pat didn't answer my phone. You, all of you get the fuck out. I'm going to stay right here, and I'm going to continue to live the way I'm living. I'm fine. I wouldn't have been.
I did that. I said I ain't leaving. Yeah. You can go.
Yeah. So
that's how a man I was.
Then I asked God to help me love others as much as He loves me. God said, finally, you get the idea.
Love others. I mean, we talked about this from the very beginning. I get angry the way we talk to people, right? And my reaction is that self-preservation reaction that I get, because if you're not getting what I'm trying to give you, then fuck you, right? That's my self-preservation. I want to give you. I said to our brother that's watching his best friend go through misery right now, right? And not only his best friend, he's got another relative that's going through the same shit. He's got two, our brothers in pain. And I just simply say, give that yoke to us. Let us carry that. Let us help you.
Right.
That's what we're here for, right? God gave me that. What's the word? He gave that to me in sobriety.
The ability to empathize.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. And I love that, because if I can take his pain, right?
Or shared pain is lightened load.
Yes. And I want that. So God showed me that, right? And that's where I love. And all those guys that I'm mean to, and you say it mean, I call it.
I don't say mean. Brad said mean.
Whatever, whoever wants to call it mean. I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'll give you everything I
don't want that
got.
one.
I'll give you everything I got if this soaks in on you, right?
And I'll give you the flesh off my bones. And you guys know I would do that for anybody.
Right.
And love takes different forms. Love looks different to other people.
Right.
To me, it relates of, like, you know, there's people out there that are not fond of me anymore, and I'm okay with that. But if I seen that person walk through that door, I'd be happy for them.
Oh, I'd hug the shit out of them.
Like,
I've got
you don't
enemies.
have to me. You walk through that door, I'd be happy that
Right.
you're there and you're willing to figure it out, and like, I'll help you.
Right. I've
You
got
don't-
enemies.
you
I'll
don't gotta
guarantee
like
if
me.
they call me right now and said, "Hey, bud, I listen to your podcast and I need your help. Show me, tell me where, tell me when and where. I'll be right
I
there."
wouldn't say I got enemies. There's just people that don't like me.
Well, enemy, people that don't like me, whatever. I mean, either way you want to look at it, I don't know. The people that don't like me, people I don't like, people. I mean, anybody comes to me, it says it in the book, right? We're like wrecked. What does it say? We're like men
Like
on
passages in
Right.
a liner that
I mean, there's people in our AA meetings that if we met on the streets, I probably wouldn't give them the time of day, but I love them because we went through that.
don't
tragedy.
like them, but we love them.
Right. And if anybody within this program called me and said, "Hey, will you do this for me?" Yep, absolutely.
Well, before I got sober, I started cutting myself out of some lives. But to this day, I wish those people blessings and happiness, and you know, I hope everything works out in life for them that they want. You know, that's a big part of me. I want everybody to be happy and not have to fucking struggle, especially with alcohol. You know,
Brutal to watch.
yeah,
It's brutal to watch somebody
And
struggle.
and I see how you get so. I mean, I do, but
And you
not
want-
as
and
bad
you-
as
but
you.
then-
You
and
want
then-
that light to turn on,
Right.
and you're like, "Fucking come over here! It's fucking."
And then when you
awesome.
go to their houses and you like what I do, you go and you see, the family, and I had a woman sit behind me in church
Yeah.
a year ago, not even a year ago. You know how when after we do the last song, you turn around and you shake people's hand. And I turn around and I recognized, I thought I did, and let it go. And then at the end of the service, turn around, young lady, do I know you? You sponsored my husband for a while.
Mm.
Okay, and then it clicked. It was years ago, and he wasn't with her, and he wasn't doing good.
Mm.
Why at that time? How did it go? And she just kind of shook her head. No. So I don't know if the man's alive or dead. I don't know. That was one of the failed ones many years ago. But you do that, and then you look at the faces of the kids, and like the story I told you, that
Right.
shit happens
Right.
if you're in this long enough, or you're in the fight. Yes, it doesn't affect you. If it doesn't, you're not human.
Right.
But the gift is, I didn't give a shit about you people.
No.
Before I got sober. I was selfish, self-centered, insecure child. I didn't care about anybody but Rob.
Yeah.
That change came from God. God has given me a new heart, and I express it sometimes poorly, a lot of F-bombs, but he's also blessed the work of my hands. I am bearing good fruit today. He is, but not me.
Right.
He's bearing good
Right.
fruit through me, as you guys know, right?
Right.
So that's where the passion comes from. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't even give you the time of day. And the problem is when you do love, you are susceptible to being hurt when they,
Oh, for sure.
Go stare at a
what
6-year-old
you said
kid.
right there. When you open up,
Yeah.
right? You open up. You go
But
in
it's
and
so
have
worth it. It's so so darn
the
worth
blessing.
it.
You go in and have a surgery and they cut you open. You're susceptible to everything that can come into you, right? It's the same as we do. We open ourselves up to anybody that needs our help. I will. But when you start feeling that infection coming back in and you feeling that bad shit, you got to close down. I do. Right?
I can't.
I have
gotta
to
go with it.
It's my self-preservation to where I got to go. I'm not comfortable
I
enough.
shut down for too many years. I want to feel, and
Right.
it's not always comfortable. It's rarely comfortable,
Yeah,
but I'm not going to allow myself not to feel anymore. It's But then again, pain is relative. I've been through enough. I've been through a lot of pain. The worst pain is when you have to go stand in front of a 6-year-old kid who
Right.
asks you, "Why is my father in a fucking box?"
Right.
Basically,
Right.
Mr. Rob. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, guys,
You want to talk a little bit about people scared to go to meetings?
yeah, hit it.
So I've been reading some things on social media about people scared to get in meetings, and they're worried about they're going to see somebody. I think it's just just coming up with a bunch of excuses why not to go.
They're going to see somebody in the meeting that they know.
Yeah,
I've heard that one.
like you got to get in there. Like, and I've told you guys before, when you go to meetings, you go hungry. You're not always going to get fed. You're going to walk out hungry and want more. But you got to go to another meeting. You got to keep trying. If I walked in and seen somebody that I knew, would it be weird? Yeah, but if I was that person on the other end of the chair and someone walks through that door that I knew, I'm happy for them. I want to help them. I have a better chance of helping them because I know them.
Right.
And here's the thing: if you walk into a meeting, one, why are you afraid of coming across someone you know? No, if that's pride and ego, you gotta let that go. But there's two things. Number one, that person's probably sharper than you because they got there before you,
Right.
and they're struggling with the same thing you are. So no one gets to AA on a winning streak. None of us came that way.
Jason had to feel that way when he walked in and saw you.
Right? He did.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Well, the first time when you asked me to come to Oakdale to the meeting, I was like, Oakdale? Fuck. I know I'm going to run into somebody at that
We
meeting.
talking about the Oakdale meeting or our men's group?
Our men's group.
Okay.
When you invited me to Brad's house for the first time, I was like, do you remember me asking you, could you tell me who's going to be in there?
And I told you, well, I didn't tell you who you were going to know, but I told you were going to know 2 people.
Yeah.
Besides me.
Yeah. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Here's the thing that I always say, we're all there for the same reason. So that person's no better than me and I'm no better than him because we're all there for the same reason, right? We're all alcoholics. If he's there and I'm there, we're both alcoholics. So,
But a lot of the fear, I mean, when you do a lot of step work with human beings,
Right.
men, women, rejection, abandonment,
Right.
fear of those are huge. So that's what
Right.
you come in, everybody's going to know I'm an alcoholic. I'm going to get rejected. They're not going to, they're going to think less of me. And you got to get over that. But if you can't get over that, this is what I recommend.
Yeah.
Whatever got you to the cusp, whatever got you to the precipice of coming to the rooms to begin with, go do some more of that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was hurting your kids, if it was slapping your wife around or cheating on your husband, or go find the bottom of 5 more bottles, if you will. Whatever got you to the point, you might as well go do some more of that shit. That maybe get you over that hump to get the help that you need.
Yeah.
I hope you don't do that. I hope you could swallow that and say, hey, I'm here. Let's see what I can get out of this. What's the worst? If you don't like what we have, we will fully refund your misery. You can have it all back.
Oh, that's funny.
What made you bring that up, Brad?
Just reading, I read a lot of posts that people put on social media, and then I just read these people that are just come up with bullshit ass excuses to go to meetings. I didn't want to go to a meeting. I go to quite a few now. I like it, but you just want people. I don't know. It's hard. I was explaining this to Grace. I came in right at the right time. I heard the right things at the right moment, and it stuck with me, and it changed my life. And for me, I'm kind of like you. I worry for someone, like I've taken someone to their first meeting, and it wasn't what they needed to hear, and then they're gone.
That's the one
They're back out on the race, and it's like, and that some of that's part of God. Like you hope, He's in control of that, and maybe there was shit in there that they needed to hear, but they just weren't paying attention.
Maybe a seed did get planted that we don't know about.
Yeah, and
you brought one to my meeting that I was chairing, and all I did was dig into the Word of God.
yeah. Well, that person isn't going to be about God. No. Today's subject is brought to you by God.
Right? At least that's better than fireball.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, yet again, I got lucky. Maybe I came in, heard what I needed to hear, and
But again,
I got after
your
it,
soil was the soil was ready.
Right.
Your heart was ready.
But you can't go to one and figure it out. Some
No,
people
and
need to go to a few, but you might go to a shit meeting. They're not all great.
No.
You're right.
You might have to bounce around and go to different meetings. When I go around, I go camping. I don't know if I talked this last time, but I go camping. Like we go up Fort Bragg. I go to a meeting up there. Because I'm only repeating things I've heard. So
Right.
if I go to the same meeting all the time, I'm going to hear the same shit.
I love different meetings where they
So
don't
if
know you.
Fun.
I'm up in Northern California in Fort Bragg, well, I'm hearing those old timers, or me and you went to that one on the beach in Santa Cruz. That was awesome.
Right.
Sitting on the beach
Right.
having a meeting,
Right.
and you hear new stuff.
Right.
And
It was
all
fun.
we're doing is repeating what we've heard. We didn't come up with this.
I was I got out in May 10th. I got out on July 17th. My daughter turned 30 and we were in Tahoe. So I'd only been sober a couple months, right? And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to go find a meeting. So I did. I went down I found it on the meeting finder, which is anybody that can find a meeting, there is an app on your phone. It's called Meeting Finder. Download that app.
By the way, we are not affiliated with alcohol.
No, but find that app and I went to that meeting in Tahoe. As funny as it was stuck, it was kind of back behind, and I was kind of moving around in my vehicle. And finally, this guy walked up to my truck and he goes, "You looking for the AA meeting?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Just park right here. I'll take you in." And I walked in there and it was great. But you go to those different meetings, and now when I'm in San Diego, I go to one in San Diego, and I love that one in San Diego. When I'm in Houston, Texas, I go to an inner city one.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm talking inner city in Houston, it's inner city, and I love it.
Raw.
Oh, buddy, it's actually, I didn't know it, but when I walked into it, it was great looking outside building. I walked in, and oh boy, it was inner city, And I sat there and I felt super uncomfortable, but my gosh, and people were so happy to see me in there, and they were just, and
Greatest people you ever
oh
meet.
my gosh,
recovered
I had a
alcoholics.
blast in that meeting. I had a blast. It was so much fun. And now every time I go back to Houston, I go back to that same meeting because it's just fun. But Brad, I love the subject, right? Those people that are struggling, that don't know where to go, and that's what this podcast is all about, right? Is, we started this to help families and people understand this thing of alcoholism and to our disease. And I had a conversation with my sister-in-law the other day about the same thing, and people just don't understand it. If you're struggling, and if you do go into a meeting and go, you know what, I'm going to try that. If you walk into a meeting and it's not for you, find another one. Find another one.
And one more thing on the meeting thing we talked about, and I've shared this with you because you had struggled with this. If you're going to go to a meeting looking to be fed,
right,
you are going to come home hungry sometimes and maybe disappointed. But if you go to a meeting every time looking to feed somebody, or seeing what you can bring to it, you will never leave disappointed.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
you see that a lot, with the older timers. They're wanting to get it out. They're saying what they need. They're waiting for those new people because they want to say, but that's what keeps them sober.
Right.
In that hope that one of them, that seed, someone had planted the seed before, someone had watered it, and it's ready to bloom, and that it catches.
Triggers.
Yeah.
Triggers.
And you hope that that's why you do it.
I wish something, like you said, refine your misery. Stay sober for a year.
Right.
If it's not working for you,
we'll refund your misery.
take all your shit and get back after it. Fucking.
But there's so many people that do that, because why do they do it? You know why? To me, because they don't buy into the program.
Well, they didn't do the work.
The actions. They're not doing the work.
They
And
didn't do the work.
The guy I had the meeting with in Visalia, he's been sober. He got out before me. He's been sober longer than me. I asked him, did you ever get a sponsor? No, he never got a sponsor. Have you been to any meetings? No, I've been to a couple. Have you been to the steps? No, obviously, if he didn't get a sponsor, he didn't go through the steps. So he's not doing the program, and I can tell by looking at him and talking with him.
But tell the audience what he told you. You asked him, how you doing? He's struggling.
He's struggling. He literally said, I'm struggling. And he got news that day that he had a tumor in his kidney. And I'm like, big deal. I mean, what are you going to do about it? There ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't shit you can do about it.
Not right
What
now.
are you doing for you?
Right.
What are you doing for you? Because if you're spiritually fit, these kind of things you're going to understand. Listen, this is out of my control. There's nothing I can do. I got to turn this over. And you know what? And it's so easy. I know it's so easy. I remember being that early sobriety and going, fuck, what? Dude, it's not that easy. It is. If you're living this lifestyle, if you're living that book, if you're putting into action the things that are in that, and you're giving everything over every day and say, I can't control this, our serenity prayer, if you say that, there's so much truth in that serenity prayer. There is it's truth from the very beginning. God, and it's just...
Well, the first three words are everything. Right. God grant me.
Yep.
Right, just right there.
Right.
That lets you know that serenity, peace, strength, courage does not emanate within me. I need it.
Right.
God grant me.
Right.
That's all you need to hear.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny, too. You ever get people ask you, well, how many times a week do you go? And then you tell them like 2 or 3 times, and they give you that look like
right.
When do you get to stop? Do you have to? Right, Rob, you've been going to meetings for over a decade. Right. How many more do you got to go to? When do you?
I've had people after this, how many do you go? And I tell them, I for sure 1 a week, maybe 2, sometimes 3, like whatever it takes.
Again, I don't have to go.
No.
I choose to go.
I choose to go. Our Monday meetings is staple.
I went from I'm not going, I don't want to go, to where I'm at now.
Right.
Yeah.
But why, Brad? Why?
Because it keeps me level. It keeps me on the playing field. It keeps me happy.
Right.
We talked about the other day, like he was talking about Bonnie, like, hey, don't you think you need to go to a meeting?
Right.
Like, I caught myself a couple weeks ago doing that, just irritable, just.
But he had already diagnosed it too.
Right. Me and my wife were bickering over the stupidest things, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong right now? Because things were going great. I'm not drinking, so what's going wrong?
Right.
And it's like, there for a while I was doing 2 to 3 meetings a week.
Right. So you did. You looked at yourself.
Yeah. And
you looked at yourself, and
maybe I should try that again.
Rob said this: your character flaws will create your own character flaws will create those resentments that you're having, right? And I heard him say that one time, and I'm like, fuck does he mean? And then sure as shit, I found myself, one of my biggest character flaws is I'm a selfish prick, right? And because Katie wasn't wanting to do what I was wanting to do, I was getting resentment to her. And then when I backed out of it and I go, wait a minute, this ain't her. This is me. This is my fucking problem.
Amen.
It ain't her.
No.
This is my fucking resentment. This is my problem.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, anything you want to close us with?
Shout out to Danny, thanks for sending that in, man. That really,
I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
touched
that's pretty
me.
cool.
That's all I wanted out of it.
Yeah.
If it hit one person, it hit one person,
Right.
Maybe one day we can call him and
That would be fun.
have him on, and
Absolutely.
I mean this with all due respect, Danny. Last time I talked to you, you kind of, it seemed like you were living life, but it wasn't the greatest. But just listening to that voice message that you sent me, and I appreciate that it was a voice message and not,
Just a text.
yeah.
That was pretty cool.
You sound good. I mean, sounds like you're going through some shit, but you sound good, and I pray for you and hope for the best for you, man. And get in there, get some shit,
Right.
And Dan, if we could have you on the podcast,
yeah.
we will fly to Hawaii if you will put us up there, and we will do it all over there, Danny.
Right.
We will bring it to you.
I'll be on a boat, so give me a head time.
Larry and
Little
I
head
will fly.
start.
That's funny.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. This is
Absolutely.
always great.
It's we got Mary coming back on the next one. We got Mary coming back in with hopes. We got another guy that's coming on. Was my counselor, Rob's counselor, Mary's counselor.
He's got all the dirt.
He's got all the dirt.
All of it.
All of it. And,
Hey, but a couple of years ago, as God gives us these
Right.
gifts, this man wanted to sharpen himself back up a little bit, and he asked me, "Hey, Rob,
Right.
would you
that's,
take me back through?"
What's that tell you?
It's a gift. That's a gift from God. That's
Right.
it. You rare. I mean,
Right.
that I got. What a gift that was for me. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
The teacher becomes
Rob,
the
you've
student.
taken it above and beyond, man.
Right.
no.
You're-
Hey, it's all God does all the heavy lifting, baby.
You are a 12-stepper.
I try. Well, when I reached out for help, there was a man that said, "Yes, I will."
Right. Yeah. And you know what? And I said that last night that I'm not a sponsor, but I one of these days, and I keep
Not a sponsor.
I stop it.
Well, what that look? He called me out, 2-stepper. Bastard.
I know one of these
Grace
days.
hit me when he said that. I'm like, rah, rah, rah.
Who?
Great.
When
you said
the
that.
other guy saw, I got a 2-stepper, and then when he explained what the 2-stepper was, Grace was over there nudging me.
Nudging you. I know one of these days I keep saying that God's going to hit me right over the head with something, and He's not going to let it go. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Right. I mean, if it's there, I'm going to do it because God's going to present it. And I say I don't sponsor, and you know what? Honestly, God has not presented that opportunity to me. He hasn't.
Well, the one you had, you chased him out of your house.
Well, yes, and
Literally,
and
chased him out and slammed the door behind him.
slammed the door behind him and told him to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And you know what?
God bless
I
you.
hopefully he found somebody and he's staying sober.
That's
I
up to
pray,
him. That's
but
up
that
to
was
him.
up to him, right? So, hey, tell us your email again. Oh, go ahead.
2 shots and a beer at yahoo.com. I'll just say once again, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You'll be back.
Just remember, you only have to be sober today.
Right.
That's it. That's
Right.
all we got just today.
What does Rob say? Tomorrow we'll go get drunk.
Well, we'll go get loaded tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Man, so, but today we'll stay
Just
sober.
don't look at it forever. Just look at it for today. We don't know what we're doing tomorrow. We think we know what we're doing tomorrow, but first we got to wake up with that
Right.
blessing, right?
We need another
need
bonus day.
We need another blessing to wake up.
We need another bonus
So,
day.
Start living life.
There
Get
you
after
go.
it.
It's a wonderful life, man. It's a wonderful life. It's my favorite Christmas show, by the way. It's
And
a
these steps
wonderful
wouldn't hurt anybody. If you want to go through the steps, ask Brad. 2 shots, 1 beer at yahoo.com. He will take you through them. We will help
Right.
him.
Rob, our email is recoveryunfiltered.
RobandLarry.com.
Yep.
The
At
letter
gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
Yeah.
The letter N.
There you go. I try to keep it simple. You guys said it's complicated. I thought I kept it simple. That's recoveryunfiltered, Rob and Larry at gmail.com. That's Recovery Unfiltered. Hey, remember to share our shows, man. Get this word out there. We're doing this with the hopes to save, and to do that, we got to share it. We got to get it out there. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody that's listening. I looked this morning. We're in 7 countries, and right at 114 different states, or 114 different cities and states, and I mean, it's doing very, very well. But we need more. We need this to go. We need it to go. We need people to get into this and protect each other, protect and save the ones that you love. If you're watching somebody, reach out to us. Reach out.
And if you happen to hit a meeting, if this inspires you just to go, even if you're not one of us, that you want to go just check something out, let us know what that experience was like.
Right.
I'd be curious about that.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for joining us today.
We hope you learned something today that will help you.
If you did not, come back next week and we'll try again.
If you like what we heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in. Take care.
This has been Recovery Unfiltered.